Well, hey, welcome to the show before the show, where I check to make sure everything is working. I'm your host, Patrick Marlette, and we have co-host Will in today. Hey,
Sup?
Will. Will might not notice this yet, but there is a new border treatment for you. You're framed. Can you guess the art I chose for your border treatment?
Man, I can't tell with all of that very specific green coloring. It totally couldn't be a commander that I have a meme deck of for cEDH.
No, 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 no.
Totally
No.
not,
It's
totally not.
it's not that, but that is your border treatment for the
It's
rest.
Gemini Rabbit, right?
No, it's actually Rabbit Battery, but this is a secret lair version that's coming out soon. Spoiler. No, guys, welcome to the show before the show. Checking to make sure everything's working. I realized there were some audio issues last night. It was odd because, Will, you sounded great in certain parts, and then you sounded robotic in other parts, and Lord knows why, because nothing changed.
Yeah, it's funny because someone said it in chat, then I hopped back on, and then as I hopped onto the stream to check it out, it sounded perfectly fine.
It was so weird, and no one else noticed it. But on the recording, which came out perfect, aside from that, it's notable. But guys, if you can't tell from the title of this video, we're going to be covering Murders at Karlov Manor, ranking this as we have previous sets by our own patented tier list system, a very official system. But basically, we're going to go over every new legendary from the set. There are obviously reprints or anything that is suitable for commander in the command zone, rather. So sometimes there are planeswalkers that have that rule that let them be played there. I don't think there are any from this set. But we're going to be discussing Murders at Karlov Manor, the commander sets that came along with this set, as well as Ravnica Clue Edition legendaries, right? So all of those, there's a handful, and I have the tier list set aside. We're on lomolist.com. I suppose we could share the link after this. After you're done completing your tier list, it lets you copy and paste it or save it. Regardless, if you're not able to hang around for the whole conversation, I'll leave that in the community post here on the channel. So if you're not subscribed, I'll encourage you to do so you just see that afterwards. You'll find it in your homepage feed if you're a subscriber to the channel. Anyway, well,
And to give our grading system the quick run through, the long and short of it is this is all from a cEDH player's perspective. So we have S for spectacular. It's something that's probably actually going to be meta. We have A for acceptable because the card might be good. Some people might play it, but it might not be common. We have B for better than average. C for common, and then we have D for don't play.
right. And I've saved that tier list like guide in the description. If it's not showing up for you, just refresh your page. You should see it. But specifically, we have S is cEDH playable, A competitively viable, B situationally viable, C casual, and D, as Will suggested with all these, don't. And that's not to say that the card is necessarily bad. Sometimes we'll have a 4 to 5 color commander down there. And, you know, we're like, why would you say D tier for that? Why wouldn't you play this? Generally because there's just something that's outright better. So you'll actually find that monocolor or dual color or trip color legendaries will wind up higher on the list because they're doing something unique with their playstyle or play patterns that they would include that aren't seen in other Demure lists or aren't seen in other mono red list, whatever that might be. So that's the logic there, right? So if we have a 5 color commander like Tom Bombadil in C, that doesn't mean that 5 colors is bad. It just means that there are better 5 color commanders to be playing. I hope that logics.
Yeah.
Okay.
The more colors, the better, but you don't always play commander specifically for the colors because then a Tog would be a
The
staple.
best. Yeah. Also, Ansrag, by the way, you just heard me complaining about the audio earlier, but if you didn't watch the video, it's wholly worth it. And pun intended, this mole god is so fun. It's gruel, and it's super fun. And it has a 100% win rate, which Will and I were discussing off camera.
100% win rate. 100% win rate. We played it on stream, 100% win rate.
Can confirm.
It's really funny as well because I think we just kind of accepted the 2-card combos with Holy Moly. Because the 2-card combos are just kind of enough. Maze of Ith and Elvish Scout do dumb things with Holy Moly and give infinite
Yeah.
combats as long as you activate them or have a lore effect.
So we're going to obviously discuss Ansrag in this video. I'm not going to say that Ansrag is S or A or B tier yet, but I will say that it's a very enjoyable deck, and you should definitely watch the deck tech if you want to see us theorize and discuss the legendary. And obviously, if there's another legendary from the set that you would want to see us brew here on the channel, let us know in the comments, whether you're in the VOD watching this or in the live chat during the stream today. But guys, on that note, I think we're pretty good. I want to preview this though. So I bought a Steam Deck solely for game streaming because Will and I, or our devices are incompatible. So we're starting a segment here on the channel called Game and Chat, and I don't know how much it's going to be about one specific TCG moving forward. I think it's just going to be topical on games, digital, and board and card. But I've got this really cool setup for it now, Will. You want to see it? Are you watching the live?
Yeah, I'm watching the live.
Look how cool this setup is now. So I've refined it to a point where I'm really happy to sort of emulate the bulbous appearance of that little TV monitor you're looking at. I've like added reflections on like a glass surface. So it is going to add like a gloss to the image of the video game. But that's more or less what it's going to look like. It's dope. Also, that QR code at the top left. Don't worry about that.
Is it a Rickroll?
It's not a Rickroll. Or is it? I don't know. But don't scan it. You're not going to have a chance to scan it. Sorry. All right. So.
Don't worry, I can pause the stream and scan it.
I guess you could just go back and scan it. But yeah, Game and Chat. I don't know. Are we playing Pal World? What are we playing, Will? What do you want to play? Apparently 2 million concurrent viewers. Or something like 2 million concurrent players, excuse me.
We can do Pal World, we can do Risk of Rain 2, because if you want, I could buy that for you on Steam. I'm fine with that. Then I can have another buddy to play Risk of Rain with. But we could play a bunch of different things, but I think Pal World was the one that you really wanted.
No, well, I mean, you own a copy of it, and Will says it's the best game he's ever played, so I guess we'll try
Pal World or Risk of Rain 2?
Pal World. No, I mean, Pal World is getting a lot of attention. It looks like a survival game. What did you liken it to?
Ark. Ark is the most common thing that a lot of people have referred to it as. It's just kind of run around, build with platforms. It's like a Fortnite-esque building system for those who don't know about Ark. But it's a relatively simple lock a square on the ground, build off of that kind of building system.
Okay.
And then yeah, outside of that, it's the automation and everything is there. I haven't gotten used to it yet. I played very little of the game, and I'm just kind of getting my toes wet, as it were. But I've seen a lot of people do videos of it. It seems like something I could enjoy later on. The survival games aren't my cup of tea, but everything else about the game seems like something I would like, so
Yeah.
I'm still giving it a chance.
Yeah, I'm not really into resource management as a core mechanic of gameplay. Like, it's fun when it's something functional and beneficial and something like a Breath of Wild, or I guess more recently Tears of the Kingdom. My wife is not a fan of Tears of the Kingdom, by the way. Let her give her 2 cents on that. It's like the mechanics of building objects in the game to solve problems, or it's too integral, and she doesn't want to jump that far into that building system, she's saying. So it's kind of annoying for her. It feels very tedious, where Breath of the Wild was like, I can cook amazing things, or she can cook a really shitty meal that just does enough. She didn't have to dig too deep to get like into that mechanic. But at any rate, why don't we officially start this by saying, hey, welcome to Local Game Group. I'm Pat, your local game guy. This is co-host Will. Hello, Will.
What's up?
Today we're going to be tiering up. So it says set review in the title. That's more or less true. If you guys want a full-fledged set review, let us know. We'll try our best to highlight cards that you should pick up from this set. If your favorite channel hasn't already, well, guess what? We'll do it better. And we'll potentially live or pre-recorded, but today it's live, and we're going to be discussing every legendary from Murders at Karlov Manor, the accompanying commander set, as well as Ravnica Clue Edition, and tiering them up in our patented system. We went over what that is already, but if you want a refresher, it's in the description. We are going to start with, if I'm not mistaken, not Ansrag. So I'm over on Scryfall to look over the cards with you guys. You're going to notice there are some reprints that we're just going to skip over. But the first one's going to be Agris, All of our cards are down here. Again, we're going to drop them in our tier list after the video is done. We'll shoot them out to you in the community post. So I encourage you to subscribe if you just want to see the tier list when it's ultimately done. But I could just read these off and then I'll throw it over to you for your thoughts.
Sure thing.
Got a lot of detectives this set, so if you ever want to do Detective Tribal, now's the time. You got every excuse. We have Agris Kos, Spirit of Justice. Also notice the trend of just 4 CMC, 2 generic colors, legendary creature. There's this trend now for these like 4 CMC legends. I feel like that's like the average cost of your typical legendary creature these days. But it's a 2/4 Spirit Detective, double strike vigilance. When Agris Kos, Spirit of Justice enters the battlefield or attacks, choose up to 1 target creature. If it's suspected, exile it. Otherwise, suspect it. A suspected creature has menace and can't block.
So, yeah,
Mythic
kind of,
rare, baby.
yeah, ETB and attack do basically nothing.
Yeah, it's kind of a do nothing. I mean, you could give your own thing menace, mind you. So,
and you can slowly remove something every 2 turns you exile a creature.
But Will, you're in white. You have the power of flicker.
Yeah, but why not just do Abdel? And then you're not in red, you can be in blue.
What the hell? Was that a jab at Boros? Wait up. What do you? Will thinks Azorius is better than Boros.
Well, I mean, if you're trying to do like a slow, let's do stuff over time strategy, I think Azorius is better than Boros. If you're trying to do an explosive thing, then yeah, Boros is better than Azorius, in my opinion. But
okay, well, I think this deserves a poll. Which is better? But Will, where are you ranking this one?
I'm putting it on D. I would not play this, not even in casual. Yeah, it's Vigilance Double Strike, but...
All right, guys, which is better, Azorius or Boros? If Agris Kos was Azorius, in this microcosm, if he was Azorius, would he be more playable?
No,
but right,
no.
I'm gonna say D. I'm gonna go with you on D. I'm not high on Agris Kos whatsoever. I think we're gonna have a few Ds. But yeah, so that was easy. We're going to move on to the legendary I'm most excited for, and that's Anzrag. I think we're skipping over one, but we'll go back to him.
Yeah.
All right.
One we're skipping over is Alquist Proft, but we can go to him later.
Yeah, fuck him. Anzrag, Quake Mole. Sorry, it's just play Shurkai.
He's crappy Shigeki anyways, who cares? Or not Shigeki,
Shurkai.
Yeah,
we're going to try to make this one quicker than normal, I guess, because we could be here for 4 hours, but I know people don't have that kind of appetite, so maybe you do want this kind of over-analytical nonsense. I feel like people nowadays, they want it in 30 seconds, Will, so... Anzrag, the Quake Mole, 2 generic and Gruel, 8/4 body, Mole God. Whenever Anzrag Quake Mole becomes blocked, untap each creature you control. After this combat, there's an additional combat phase. For 7 mana, Anzrag must be blocked each combat. This turn, if able.
Well, Holy Moly might be going in S, but probably goes in A. So Anzrag can combo off with Mazavith or Elvish Scout really easily, as we saw on stream. There's so many ways to build this commander. All of them are pretty good. You can add Fog for redundancies, just then run Pingers, Looters, something to actually win with infinite untap, since you can't win with combat because of Fog. Due to the redundancy, due to the fact that he has A plus B plus like a little sprinkling of something else combo in, I think Anzrag is probably high A tier to near S tier, but I'd say A because there's still faster commanders. He's not going to be hyper meta, but people will definitely play him.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that Anzrag, I wouldn't say that this would ever reach S tier, but just based off of our preliminary deck tech, which again I highly encourage you check out. Live stream was just yesterday. We'll probably run them on Fridays from here on out if we do a brewing session. But on that note, if you guys want to participate in those brews, so for the longest time we've done live stream deck techs here on the channel. They used to be on Wednesday, and I would goldfish the list, and it was just a good opportunity for us to see how a particular new legendary would perform or old legendary with modern cards. But if you want to participate in gameplay, I have a virtual cam set up to where we could easily playtest any legendary we brew. So you can bring your best blue farm list, or you can bring your favorite, I don't know, group hug deck. It doesn't matter, but it'll give us an opportunity to test these lists in the future. On that note, we had a 3-mander game. It won.
Yeah.
And sorry, spoiler alert. It was a hard fought battle. It actually was. And we did a thing that I didn't expect was going to happen. So you should watch it for that.
It was really funny because I was watching the combo turn and I'm like, you guys have the combo. It's right there.
Because I didn't read this. Okay, so here's the key difference. And this is sort of important. Will highlights this in that video. Ansrag's ability says must be blocked each combat, but not must be blocked by each creature during combat.
Only one thing has to block Ansrang. But on the other hand,
you have cards that make it so that everything must block it. So I had a card on Ansrang. I've never played Lure before. Okay, I thought these read virtually the same, but Lure specifically states that each creature must block it during combat, which freed up my. Well, let's not talk about it. Actually, go watch the video.
Freed up a 1/1.
It worked okay. So here's what I'm going to say about Ansrag. It's extremely fun if you want to play. I'm just going to call it Fog Tribal. If you want to play with a strategy that's not seen in Commander, Turbo Fog Ansrag is actually viable. No one expects it. It has a slew of just odd tricks up its sleeve. You'll always survive combat provided you'd like. I think it's really good. I think it is viable. So I'm going to put it.
Ansrag is debatably the best Gruul commander because there aren't a ton of really good Gruul commanders, but I think it definitely competes with Wart and it.
What about Hunks, my guy? Hunks.
Hunsk.
Yeah. Don't mess with the hunks. Okay, I'm going to agree with you. I think that Ansrag is probably the best. I know, well, that's not true. People are going to say Minx and Boo.
Yeah, Minx and Boo are interesting. The bottleneck on them is that you need infinite mana, and Gruul is not the best infinite mana color, but you do have Sabertooth Dockside, you do have a couple untapped combos, so you can get there with them. Ansrang is just kind of a really easy A plus B combo, though, in Gruul, and it uses creatures for those combos, or lands.
Yeah.
So you can find those really easily. Those are the things you search for in those colors.
Oh, you just need to watch the game. Just watch the gameplay. What I was able to do, even with all the stacks in play, I feel like the list should run stacks. Like, it shouldn't be turbo. It should run its own form of stacks and slowly roll out a creature-based combo, because you kind of need those turns for your characters to refresh anyways. And if we have looters, I do think that Anger is... at any rate, I'm sorry. I'm still in deck. I haven't left the mode of wanting to make Ansrag amazing.
It might be the next deck you build in paper. You enjoyed that deck a lot.
It was just too fun. I legitimately...
Holy moly, that deck is fun.
Yeah, any legendary that gets me excited is obviously going to rank highly for me, so there is that bias. I do think it is cEDH viable, though, so I'm going to put it in the A slot. B is situationally viable. Like, there are setups where this deck is going to perform well. It's going to depend on how you pilot it. But let's say Dosfa says hello. Hey, Chris Robinson says, I'm a Ragadraga man myself. I don't dislike Ragadraga, actually, either. All right, well.
Ragadraga is cool. Ragadraga was one of the other decks that had, like, really good and semi-consistent creature combos. I will say, for everybody who plays Ragadraga, if you're not running Panglacial Worm, you're not doing it right.
Ooh, spicy take. I'll let you guys look up what Panglacial Worm is, but
that
it's a hot one.
A judge headache. It is almost as bad as Humility.
It's the tutor. Well, okay, never mind. Yeah. Alquist Propt, Master Sleuth. So here we go, guys. Is Azorius better? Let's find out. 3 CMC, I'm just going to say the total cost. 3/3 Human Detective Vigilance. When Alquist Propt, Master Sleuth, enters the battlefield, investigate. You create a clue token. You can pay 2 to crack that clue. You don't need to tap it for this. You'll draw a card. Cool. So it can come into play tapped if you're running stacks, whatever. X and white, double blue, tap, sacrifice a clue, Jesus, jump over a ring of fire. You draw X cards and you gain X life.
Binks' tutelage. Proft is cool. Proft does what Shorekai also wants because you're probably doing just a polymorph combo, getting out Hullbreak Horror or Tidespout Tyrant, and then replaying Proft infinitely for infinite clues to draw your deck. You can at one time just keep a clue up, keep Proft up, and then say, oh, I'm going to keep up all my mana for turn. No one did anything, so I didn't need to counter. I'm going to pay all of that mana and draw like 7 cards. Proft is cool. Shorekai does it better.
I agree. So, and this is one of those instances where, like we were talking about earlier, like, you know, a 5-color commander is going to make it into the D range. It's not because they're necessarily bad, it's just because there's better within those colors. And by the way, Aranis as my green and red deck, the Death Touch background commander. We've talked about this one on the show before. But yeah, I actually really like that for Gruul as well. I'm going to say that Alquist is like, could be, I don't know, it's like the face legendary from the set. I feel like people are going to want to play it, and as a playable Azorius, it's not bad, and you can play it a little bit sooner than something like a Shorekai. Like Will was saying, the strategy is more or less the same, mind you. I would say it's casual, it's not bad, and
Yeah,
people are going to want to play it just because it's a detective. I know there's interest in some sort of detective build, so...
Yeah, I'd give him a B or a C, only because you can do a cEDH combo with him. However, if you're doing stuff with clues so that you can constantly do Sphinx's tutelage, the best clue generators are played in common or in casual.
I'm gonna slant towards C here myself, so
Agree.
we could put it in casual. That's fine. The next
And
one, oh
I would like to cover the next one because
yeah,
this was
Amzu.
almost great, and
Okay,
then it made me sad.
yeah, go for it.
So, Amzu is Golgari, 5 mana, flying, menace. Other insects you control have menace, 3 power, 3 toughness, and it's a legendary creature, insect shaman. And then Amzu's major effect is whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, you create a 1/1 black and green insect token,
Mm-hmm.
then put a number +1/+1 counters on it equal to the greatest mana value amongst those cards. Do this once per turn. You had me till the last part.
I don't know, 5 mana. We just went over a card that lets us take infinite combats at 4.
So the only reason why I think Amzu would have been great if you took out that very last sentence is it is not hard to like mill exile, mill exile, mill exile, and then make a massive board or just go infinite. And Golgari does have sack outlets in black to kind of keep going.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it's once per turn makes this casual in my mind. It's not unplayable. It's just casual because if you exile that Draco, you are getting a 17/17 menace.
No, it's still not bad. Yeah, I'm happy to put it in casual. We don't need to talk much further on this. Obviously, the implications, what this card could have done, sans that last line of text, obviously would have been amazing, but it's fine. Tis what it is. Not an absolute letdown, but a little bit of a letdown. Who else we got that's new? We've got to go down to another clue card.
Yeah, Apothecary White.
You want to read her off?
Sure. Apothecary White is mono white. Surprise. 4 mana for legendary creature, human cleric with vigilance.
What if she was blue? Yeah.
Yeah. Azorius would be great, to be honest. But
we got to pull.
I know. Whenever you attack, you create a food token for each player being attacked, and then you can pay one white, tap, and then tap X untapped foods you control, create that many white human creature tokens. So this is like a weird, almost Winota card, except for the fact that the creature tokens you make are humans. As a commander, this can make a very big board very easily, and it can do some dumb things. It's like a pseudo Nagila.
Mm-hmm.
However, Nagila does it better and in more colors. I have
She's
trouble
vigilant, though.
Yeah, but you tap her to make the tokens, so...
But that's why she's vigilant.
The only reason why Apothecary White is maybe better than Winota, or not Winota, Nagila. Holy crap. The only reason why Apothecary White might be better than Nagila is you keep the food tokens. If something happens to your board, as long as you have the food tokens, you immediately rebuild the board. And the way that the numbers kind of sequence for Apothecary White is a little bit better than Nagila because you're going up 3 every turn. So you make 3 tokens, then you make 6 tokens for 9 in total, then you make 9 tokens for 18 in total, then you make 12 tokens for so on and so on and so on. It's up 3, then add that whole number back to your number of tokens. You can make a lot of tokens very quickly, but not great. I'd say casual because there are still commanders that do it a bit better.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the maximum you're going to make 3 food tokens. Any sort of doubling effects will obviously give you more food tokens. So you could do a really cool strategy where you just lay out a massive board of creatures. I think you could certainly get there. I think it's more of a casual experience, though. I mean, they're still 1/1s, so maybe you run anthems to buff them, or some sort of sacrifice shenanigan to do more with those bodies. But
Last stream we saw the 1/1s get there, Patrick.
yeah,
Don't you hate on 1/1s?
no, this is true. Are you talking about my 1/1?
Yeah, going straight for the win.
Right. So I don't know. If it was making clues, I'd be more excited because food itself is fine, and also we're not in green, so it's not like we're able to like get to a to cook line or something. But it's cool. It's fine. If she was what am I trying? If she was not Simic, if she was Selesnya, would she have been better?
Probably. Selesnya does good food things.
Yeah, I know, but whatever. All right, Apothecary White, that's you. That's you in a nutshell. I'm happy to put her in casual. We have Aurelia, the Law Above, for 3 generic and Boros 4/4. We've been burned by the last 5 drop. Let's see if we can pick this up. Flying, Vigilance, Haste. Whenever a player attacks with 3 or more creatures, you draw a card. Okay.
Well, Tuna gives you draw and Toski gives you draw. That's something.
I guess. I don't know. This is a high ask. It means you as well, folks. Right? So whenever a player attacks with 5 or more creatures, Aurelia, the Law Above, deals 3 damage to each of your opponents, and you gain 3. All right. Well, look. At least the card draw came sooner. This is bad.
Yeah.
Don't play. God, man. Okay, well, look, obviously, for the Commander format, this is bad. We are speaking very specifically here. That's not great.
You can do some fun things with goading and then have a bit of a fun time in casual, but there are better goad commanders even in casual. There's better force attacker things that you can do. I'd say don't play.
I'm a hard D. Both of our Boros legendaries are hard D for me. Not so hard D, as a matter of fact. Nowadays, we'll just throw Anointed Procession and Divine Visitation into mono white token decks. Boros, S tier, as says Abzo. I'm sorry, you're right. Yeah, this is opposite day. Don't worry. Here, just pretend it's opposite day. And she's much higher. Benny Brax, amazing. Chilean, great. But Commander Mustard. What about Commander Mustard? All right, so another 5 cost Boros. Okay. Sure. 5/5 Vigilant. Other soldiers you control have Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. Those are nearly the same keywords as well. But other instead, so don't get too excited. For 2 generic and Boros, until end of turn, soldiers you control have gain rather. Whenever this creature attacks, it deals 1 damage to defending player. There's the pinger we needed for Ansrag, Will.
Indeed. So
Soldier Tribal.
Yeah, Soldier Tribal. And you can also do fun stuff with Zerta to just pay 2 and then give all of your creatures ping when they attack, and then you can stack that a bit and just knock players out of the game. Interesting for casual. Soldier Tribal is kind of a thing for casual, and you like passing off those keywords. I wish you could replace haste with first strike because a lot of soldiers enter tapped and attacking. I'd say
I'm so iffy on this guy.
C, very low C, but C.
So Mike says D.
Yeah.
True.
I can
Mustard.
I can kind of hear D.
Okay,
Yeah.
not to upset Abzo, but I'm gonna put the other Boros. I want to see. Okay, look, I'm gonna lean towards D because I think there are better We've really had a lot of great Boros legendaries that aren't trying to do. I mean, look, this is unique, mind you. Soldier tribal. I don't know how many care about soldiers specifically, but that is kind of a cool take on a commander. I think it's 5 CMC though. It's 5 CMC. It's not immediately doing anything, and it's another 4 to start pinging by 1.
Wait, the art is like a solid B plus, though. You are correct,
No,
Mike.
yeah, the art is amazing.
I
The
will
art,
say,
I would
if
say,
you,
for the art, it would be mustard. A for art.
I will say that if you want Soldier Tribal, the best commander you can do, Winota,
Yeah,
because the soldier tokens are basically never humans. A lot of the things that make soldier tokens are humans. So Winota builds a massive engine very quickly.
okay, so this next card. Now, we're trying to critique these off of their placement in the command zone specifically, okay? So don't freak out. Delny Streetwise Lookout. 2 generic and a white, 2/2 body. Creatures you control with power 2 or less can't be blocked by creatures you're with power 3 or greater. All right, so they could still be blocked, but
Not by big
people
boys.
right, but they might not be willing to make that trade. If an ability of a creature you control with power 2 or less triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. Yes, I hear you saying Timna in the chat. I know she's really, really good in the 99 of other decks. As her own commander, or his, I don't know what Downey. I don't know. I don't think Delny's great in the CZ personally.
So in the CZ, there's a couple things that you can do, and a lot of them are usually run things that you'd want in the command zone anyways, like Deshar. But you can use Recruiter of the Guard to assemble stuff pretty easily because the Recruiter of the Guard is a 1/1, so it will double trigger, getting you 2 creatures that will also trigger off Delny to
Esper
do the
Sentinel.
thing. Esper Sentinel is another one.
Ranger Captain of Eos. Find 2 1-drops. One of them being Esper Sentinel. Well, wait, is Ranger Captain of Eos a 3/3 or 2/3? What up?
3/3.
Damn it.
I will say though, so
Yeah.
if we were
That
talking
was a
about
2/3.
in the 99, Delny is S tier.
Downey's
If we're
S tier.
Yeah, for the 99. For the command zone, Delny is okay. There's better. You can play Oswald, you could play Tushar, you could play Heliod, you could play whatever. It would probably be better than Delny. But you can set up some pretty decent engines. So I don't hate Delny. I think like
Do you think
maybe
that Delny could be a B, situationally viable? I think you need a few more tutors, creature tutors specifically. There are the Ranger captains. Like there is Ranger Captain of EOS that we're all familiar with, but there's another Ranger Captain that finds, I think, 2 creatures. Um, or hold up. Captain of Knight Captain of Eos. No, there was another Ranger Captain dude that tutored.
Oh, it's another EOS.
It's white, yeah. Captain Eos? Right? No.
It's just EOS. It's like
I'll find it. A Ranger of Eos. Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
He's not, this is not the captain. But Ranger of Eos enters the battlefield. You may search your library for up to 2 creatures with a converted mana cost of 1 or less. Reveal them, put them into your hand. If you do so, shuffle. So there are, like, I'm just trying to highlight another creature tutor. Are we really trying to make Delny playable? Hold up. I'm sorry. Wait. Wait. Not. She's playable. Don't get me wrong. I think in the 99 of certain list, she is hyper playable. Like, decks are going to want this card. This is going to be one of those cards that you just include in a lot of lists because of its value.
I mean, heck, if you can just put Delny in Chu Lane and double up Chu Lane, and then that's usually enough to storm off and win. I will say so. For Mike and Dasp in chat saying that Delny's bad in Timna because it's a 3-drop that's win more. Incorrect, because it's evasion and it doubles up Timna, so it's basically running a second Timna, in addition to the fact that it will double up all of your other low CMC effects, like a couple of the tutor creatures, like a couple of the value creatures. It
Mhm.
is really, really, really good in Timna, because it's not just another Timna, it's evasion for Timna, and it's also another engine that will double up some of your other engines.
I would, and you
So
would totally like. I would turn one this out with my Mana Crypt, my Ancient Tomb, and a rock, and then if I get Delny down because it passes the Mana Crypt test, which is something I always talk about here. If it's 3 CMC but 2 if that's generic, if you're playing cEDH, you have so many double generic producing cards that shouldn't be a difficulty for you. If you put Delny down first and then play Timna on your next turn and attack with Delny, does that not trigger Timna? Am I crazy?
well, I mean, Timna just cares that something is attacked, not even that Timna attacked. So
Right. So trigger it.
yeah,
Draw cards. Like it's immediate, right? So the double Timna thing that Will just said is immediately true. Like I think it's very good in Timna. You know, it's weird. Like, is it win more? I don't think it's win more in Timna X, whatever the pairing is. I don't think it's win more. I think the evasion is very important. Um, Sorry, but let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, here, let me just see. Let me just ask this question of you guys: Is Delny cEDH playable? And I mean as its
in the
own
90,
commander, but specifically in the.
yeah. And I will say, other decks that are really good with Delny are they're kind of weirdly far and few in between from what I've looked at. But Tushar, Tulane, and Timna are the main three.
Yeah, so far as like what would be in the command zone. And obviously this
Yeah,
pairs really well with whatever's in the body. If you're making this your commander, you clearly want to dip into that pool of triggered abilities as much as possible. Excuse me. I think that I like this. So we're hearing C in the CZ.
yeah. I'd give it a C for casual.
I would say between C or B, I could see this doing okay, like maybe situationally viable kind of a competitive commander, but it's no better than Teshar. I think Teshar would exist in the B territory. Let's say C. Let's just say casual. But in
Yeah.
the 99, I'm curious as to what you guys think. I remember when Lotho came out, like only a handful of people really gave a shit, but I'm like, this is immediately playable in every deck that can play this because people are going to want the treasures. And look at it, Lotho being
Everybody's
played.
playing it in
Everyone's
all the
playing.
decks that can.
And the same thing with Roaming Throne. That was another one of those cards. Like, it's kind of expensive, but it's amazing in all the decks that want this effect. Delny, gonna be amazing in all the decks that want this effect. I like her a lot. So look out for a copy. She is a mythic rare from the set. Descana, the Rage Mother. Let's talk Naya for a second, will we, Will? A pale bear shall herald the rise of the old gods. Gruel prophecy, but they didn't know. It was nigh and bound. 5/5 body. When Descana the Rage Mother enters the battlefield, draw a card for each creature you control with base power and toughness 2/2. I heard talk about this being like a food chain commander. You would need a 2/2. You would need a 2/2 online first, because this is not like a bear, traditional bear. Whenever a creature you control with base power and toughness 2/2 attacks, it gains +3/+3 until the end of turn. Thoughts on Descana?
Bad food chain dino.
Yeah.
I will say Bear Tribal's fun and casual. I will give this a good C, but yeah.
I'll say a fun C. I think this falls into the fun C category. We don't need to harp on Descana for too long. Timna and Ludwig love the double trigger. Yes, I'm shocked you didn't use Indestructible for Ansrag last night. Because of all the fog effect storm, I don't think it's important. But we do have, if you didn't stay till the very, very end, I don't blame you. We did incorporate a fog/indestructible effect for a single-sided fog/indestructible sorcery spell for the list. So you have it by way of that. I don't think the indestructible is absolutely necessary, but I understand your desire for that. If you do the fog effect, well, if you make it so that things have to block you and you're indestructible, then you go on a rampage, right? So
Yeah, you board wipe, and I think we might add heroic intervention at some
right,
point just for that.
so
But
we're
it's
talking about
not
this.
immediately. It's not like immediately necessary because it's not a combo effect. It's a board wipe effect. So if you can do
Right.
2 mana wipe the board, that's cool. That's good. It's a Wrath of God for 2 mana. But you need to have the setup for it. Also, you need to give Indestructible and activate Anzrang to wipe the board.
Yeah.
I would rather
I think that's what
Maze of Ith.
yeah, no, that's why it was secondary for me, because once you, yeah, that's why it felt very secondary in my mind. I think though that you're right. You're definitely onto something with Indestructible and Anzrag, and that's its own sub strategy. So certainly something you want to consider. I believe our next card should be Emissary Green, but I'll double check here. It is indeed. All right, Emissary Green for 5 CMC total, 3/3 body, human advisor. Whenever Emissary Green attacks, starting with you, each player votes. You guys can't see that? Okay. Each player votes for profit or security. You create a number of treasure tokens equal to twice the number of profit votes. So if it's just you, that's 2 treasures. Put a number of +1/+1 counters on each creature you control equal to the number of security votes. Guess what? That's what people will select.
And that's why you have to go Brostorm, so that if they want to do that, you get +10/+10. Let's go.
Do you play this in Savala?
No.
Yeah.
You do not. The fact that he has to attack hurts.
Ooh, it's not even on ETB. God, what? Wait, I thought never mind. I just in my mind inserted on play, you know?
You inserted Titan, yeah.
This is bad. Don't play Emissary Green. D.
Yeah, I'd say Emissary Green is probably a D.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's a nice way to phrase it, Will. We're gonna go to Atrata, Deadly Fugitive. We got another Atrata. Let's see how good she is. So we've got a generic Endemir, 1/4, Vampire Assassin, Death Toucher, face down creatures you control have for 4 mana total. Turn this creature face up. If you can't, exile it, then you may cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost. So this is to suggest the thing isn't a creature?
Isn't a permanent.
Isn't a permanent. Okay. Whenever an assassin you control deals combat damage to an opponent, cloak the top card of that player's library. Does it go to you, the cloaked thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so cloak is, we're going to see it later with a card called Vanifar, but basically you place it face down as a 2/2 and you can flip it.
It is morph, but you have ward 2.
So a better morph.
Yeah.
All right, Atrata.
So, I will say, I wish the cloaked creatures were also assassins so that you could kind of storm out of control. I think they're typeless. I'd say...
Oh, can we... Is there a token here? There's no token. Okay. That would be interesting. I don't think they are, but yeah. Continue.
I will say that I'd give it a C for casual, because you can still do fun stuff, and stealing your opponent's things is better if they're running big things. People are running more big things than casual.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I dig that. Next card, though, is Ezram, Agency Chief. For 5 CMC, 5/5 Archon Detective. I was going to say defective. Flying. When Ezram Agency Chief enters the battlefield, investigate. Twice. Okay, so you can pay 1, sacrifice an artifact. Ezram gains your choice of Vigilant, Lifelink, or Hexproof until end of turn. This is really cool. I wish it was just sacrifice an artifact. Is that too much to ask at 5 CMC? That's double white, double blue? I don't know. But the hexproof business is really sick. Yeah. It's not enters the battlefield and attacks, so you only... Yeah, see, again, they keep they're like, hey, what's good? And then they just clip it. They just, right at the butt, they're like, it could almost be good. It almost be playable. I think it's okay.
If Ezram was a Titan, like ETB and attack, honestly would have been a good KCI commander, because you can give him hexproof at any point. Mm-hmm. You can do lifelink and vigilance to kind of help out whatever you need. But the fact that you would make 2 clues every turn, giving 2 draws to help try to find KCI, blue to tutor for KCI, and clues to sack for mana for KCI would have been really good. Doesn't work like that though, so sad.
It is a sack outlet on a body, Mike. True. So far as sacking artifacts is concerned, I don't know.
You can make You can make people sad by sacking Wishclaw Talisman in response to activating Wishclaw Talisman. You're not in the colors to do that with your own Wishclaw, but
No. If they for some reason gave it to you.
I will say,
Are we saying D here?
yeah, this is significantly worse proft.
I'm yawning, it's so bad. Alright
Yeah.
guys, who is excited to see Feather again? Not me, but someone out there. She's
Feather's
fine.
back and
Worse than ever?
better than ever.
Is she better or is she worse? I haven't seen
No.
this. This is my first time looking at this Feather. I want to see if there's cool art for her. No, we get a border extension. It's from the commander set. Okay, makes total sense. For 3 CMC, 4/3 body, Angel, Flying, Lifelink. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell that targets only Feather, Radiant, Arbiter, you may choose any number of other creatures that the spell could target and pay. Oh, sorry. Oh, you thought this was Zada. You thought this was Zada. Yeah, I'm so sorry. If you do, for each of those creatures, copy this. This is not Zada, Will.
No.
Well, hold on. If the thing you're doing is going to produce mana, then you can kind of... This is a far more involved storm.
So the issue is I play Zada, so I know the things that make mana. They make 1 mana per creature. You need to pay 2 per creature. And the worst part is it isn't like a weird replicate thing or
You may
something
choose
where
any
you
number of
cast a
creatures.
copy for each creature.
For each creature, Jesus Christ. Sorry.
And the worst part is, let me double check because I want to make sure that this is correct before I say it. Yeah, no, this. Oh no, yeah, never mind. Yeah, so you copy the spell. Okay, so this does work with Stormkill and Artisan. I was gonna say like I think this is just Strive, but no, you make copies. It's still just not worth it.
You don't think that people are going to want a Stormkill and Artisan combo here?
No, I do not. There's probably like 1 or 2 bomb things that would be amazing with Strive that I don't know about. But the issue is you're also in the colors that can't search for instants and sorceries that easily. And yes, this does say whenever you cast a non-creature spell, not instant or sorcery.
Yeah.
But you're never going to target something with your creature. And if somebody says like Ulamog or something like that, that is correct, yes, but that's a triggered ability, not part of the cast. So
yeah, whenever you cast a non-creature spell that targets, I don't know that many in these colors. Guys, someone's asking if it's F for Feather. I would put this in D. I'm sorry. I would put this in D.
The only reason why it could be C, it is really good with auras. It's a fun aura commander. That is the only reason why I'm willing to give it C. Also, so that we don't have all of our Boros commanders in D.
You wanna buck the trend right now?
Yeah, we can buck the trend. I think that using
It's
auras with Feather is kind of
costly,
fun.
man.
It's fun because the best thing is if you play like an 8-mana aura, it's 2 mana to copy that 8-mana aura per creature after that.
If you have mana left,
Yeah.
Good luck.
It isn't great,
Yeah.
but it is really fun. And there's only
Alright.
one other commander that does interesting aura stuff in Boros, and also an Angel, by the way. Also an Angel. But this is more grindy. The other one is more combo-y.
What are they called? The enchantment creatures that you can enchant
Oh,
from Theros block.
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? What are they called? What is the effect called? Because that would be kind of cool to have a list of those things.
Let me look that up because I know that's like ES something.
Here, we are going to move on though in a second to Headliner Scarlet, just in order to shave time off the Feather chat. Bestow. Thank you, Abso.
Bestow?
Thank you, Espresso. Only goblins can pull off communism.
Indeed.
That's right. It's too much for the angels.
Our strategy, comrade.
Do you like that all White did to the strategy was add a tax?
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Do you notice that? All White did for Zada was add a tax. That's such bullshit. any rate, Headliner Scarlet. For 3 generic and a red, legendary creature, human warlock, 3/3 body, haste. When Headliner Scarlet enters the battlefield, creatures target player controls can't block this turn. That's right. You're gonna not be able to use Anzrag. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library face down. You may look at and play that card this turn.
Interesting. Worsitali.
Yeah. It is hasty, so
Yeah. Haste is a thing, but I'd rather just play 6 mana Atali.
so but she's gonna get in there for 3, Will. Well, wait. I don't. We've got all
for
the.
these though.
I know.
The thing is, it's like it'll draw off of your deck once per turn, but Atali draws off everybody's deck
If
once
it
per
said
turn and doesn't make you pay.
if she said at the beginning of each upkeep, that would be sick.
Yeah.
She would be. I think at 4 CMC it's justified too, because like the haste, creatures can't block.
Well, the
Like,
issue is that impulse draw at the beginning of your turn is a 4 CMC effect.
Yeah. Is it a 4? Well, but it's a.
We almost always see it on 4 CMC. We've seen it on 3 CMC, but it's usually tacked on to some negative, like landfall, draw the card you can play at this turn.
Insert Prosper comment. Yeah, we can move on. I'm going to put this in D range. There are way better things to do in mono red.
Yeah, like it can go in the 99 of common decks, or casual decks, but it's C in the 99.
All right, Will, try to tell me what a Zoni is off memory. A Zoni center of the web.
Makes tokens by removing evidence, and then you can sacrifice 4 tokens to like surveil, draw, and gain life.
Yeah, well, enters the battlefield or attacks. You may collect evidence 4. So this is exiling stuff from your graveyard, and then it's based off CMC when you're trying to get the number for 4, the evidence.
Yeah.
If you do, create 2/2/1 black-green spider creature tokens with menace and reach. Conspire in Golgari? No, green. I don't know. Sacrifice.
I'm looking at it right now. I wish there's some good way of making tokens to loop.
Yeah. So sacrifice 4 tokens. I mean, well, you could do some took stuff, I guess, and I don't know. Sorry. This is like a shitty outlet. Sorry. I'm going to keep apologizing for Azoni. I think she's really cool. I think the character is really cool. I have yet to find an Azoni that I want to play, and I don't think this changes that trend. Sacrifice 4 tokens. I mean, this is a good effect, mind you. So you're setting up like some sort of reanimate shenanigan with a surveil. You're also getting to draw 2 cards. I think you're getting 4 sacrifice tokens worth of effect here. And she's obviously self-producing the tokens. It's just that she's 6 CMC, man.
Yeah.
Why is she 6 CMC?
Because Wizards is afraid of printing things that look like they can combo off, and this looks like it can combo off.
Yeah, but then, I don't know, they already screwed that. They already messed that up. There's so many other things that just combo off better and more efficiently. Yeah. Exiling fights against Golgari, bring back from the graveyard identity. So, exiling fights against Golgari, bring back from the graveyard identity. Oh.
I will say, Izoni, I think, is C, not D, and there's only one reason why. Because green is the color that allows you to double tokens and produce a lot of tokens very easily. So think of it with what's it called? Scoot Swarm. Scoot Swarm. You are drawing your entire deck very quickly with Scoot Swarm.
Right. So it was suggested this would be a good token deck.
Yeah. For casual, 100%. This is an amazing commander. For competitive, no. There's a million better things. I will say though, this is a food chain commander potentially, but not really.
I'll say C. Until someone changes my mind. I think Judith is next for us. Judith?
Yeah.
Carnage Connoisseur for 5 mana, 3/4. I don't make my living hiding the truth, detective. I shout it from the stage. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, choose 1. That spell gains Death Touch and Lifelink. Right, rude. So Bolt is that much better. Create a 2/2 red imp creature token with, when this creature dies, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. I think that this effect is Pretty cool.
So there are people who built this as a cEDH commander. It functioned, but wasn't great because they were just doing a instant sorcery sack storm, like a Phyrexian altar, make mana, keep going. I don't think this is great as cEDH. I think this is freaking phenomenal as casual because you can blazing volley to wipe the board and gain life a million times every turn because there's like 30 copies of blazing volley that exist.
Also, anything with buyback, like if you just
Yeah.
have a cheap effect that you can recur.
Yeah, Mateus said it in chat as well. I wish Judith had ward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I like there's all these 5 CMC things that are really cool and like yeah, you kind of maybe potentially build an engine around it, but they don't have any evasion. And then you look at you're just talking about how this has combo potential, Will, or like how it could potentially be bad. And they print fucking Tivit that has ward and a 1 A plus B card combo in the CZ. So it's like, yes, you spent all that time looking for the primo hand to cast this thing out on turn 2, turn 3, or whatever, because it's very pip and mana intensive, but at least it has ward.
Yeah. And
I don't know.
it's funny because I remember people saying that Tivit was not going to be good enough for cEDH.
No.
That was most people when Tivit got printed.
I think they they don't they don't really realize how much ramp exists in the game, also how potent it is just to have good counter interaction, because you'll play a slower control-y game at the onset if things aren't going your way. But this is not me saying that every single creature that's 4 or 5 CMC or higher needs some form of evasion, but I think that some of these characters could have, and I mean in this game, could have gone with some ward. Anyway.
So, Espresso says in chat, Judith lore-wise wants to be targeted, so it wouldn't make sense to give her ward. Mechanically, it'd be great, though. Fair. I get that.
That's true. Yeah.
I will
Judith
say,
is like C for casual. I can agree with that.
Ward is my favorite mechanic in the game because you can give any high CMC creature ward, and then it kind of scales removal fairly. Because one of the things that people hate in casuals decks that run a ton of removal, and in cEDH, you're just running a ton of removal, but you're removing only low CMC things, so it feels balanced. But I want more high CMC things that have ward. If a card is like 5 CMC or greater, and doesn't either have built-in protection or go fast by itself, I think giving it ward 1 is fine, ward 2, something like that. But for some reason, no, we're still not getting ward on a lot of things. Because
ward
sucks.
is a form of, I would say it's not evasion in the sense that you're getting in over someone with like a menace or a shadow effect or something like that. It's you call it protection. But it also eludes removal, so you can call it evasion. Yeah. It's protection.
But because having murder kill like your 3 CMC creature, that makes sense. Having fatal push kill or like a tragic slip kill a low CMC creature, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Then having it kill a bigger thing for still 1 mana or 2 mana or 3 mana, that feels really bad. But I feel like increasing the cost by 1 or 2 makes it feel a bit more fair, because if you put more into it, your opponents have to pay more to remove it. So for casual, I like ward for like ward 1 and ward 2, just to make the more expensive things a little bit more protective.
I don't know. Ward is a relatively new keyword, I'm going to say. I don't think everything deserves ward, but I look at some sets where ward is just present, and I'm like, well, they could have put ward on X, Y, and Z instead of. And I think, what you're saying with Judith is probably accurate. I don't know her lore-wise. At any rate, cost Eyes of the Glade. We have Naya, 2 CMC, 2/2 body, legendary creature, Dryad, detective. This is the coolest looking detective from the set, by the way. Those are my 2 cents. Whenever a creature you control was turned face up this turn, deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Tap, turn target face down, attacking creature you control face up. You're like, well, when then, off of this guy. If you think you're being watched, you're probably right.
So I want to have ward.
So yeah, I wish I had Ward in my life too. Ward is a balanced keyword exemplified by Saruman and Tivit. Yeah, of course. Um, it depends on how high that ward is, because you're
Yeah,
just
Tibbet
it's
having Ward 3 is dumb. Saruman's Ward makes sense, and I like Saruman's Ward because he himself isn't
bum
super combo heavy
bum
just
bum.
by existing.
Yeah.
So I think Sauron is fine having Ward. Tibbet should have had Ward 2.
All right. So how do we feel about cost? I think
Uh,
cost is cool. It's definitely a casual kind of thing. If you want to do a flippy, morphy,
yeah.
cloaky kind of fun thing to do.
My issue is a lot of the best morph flip things are in black and are in blue, and
Hmm.
this is neither of those colors. So it feels kind of bad because you're not in the colors where you'd want to do morph stuff. And then for cloak stuff, once again, that's kind of more of a Demir thing.
Are you
So,
saying D for Demir?
yeah, D for should have been Demir.
D for should have been Demir. I'm good with that. Let's see here. Avika has my favorite version of Ward. Avika? Yeah. So, guys, we're moving on because we have to. I'm sorry. We're not looking at Kazul, Tyrant of the Cliffs. I think we move on to Kellen.
Yeah,
Wow.
return of
Return,
Oko's boy.
return. Oh, all the
Yeah.
Kellens. So we're getting all the Kellens. So if you haven't
One
gone
Kellen
to,
percent, let's go, I believe.
yeah, if you haven't gone enough of this, is he 3 for 3 right now?
I think he was in
Wait, he was
Ixalan. Yeah.
LCI. He was in the Return, Wilds of Eldraine, and then now he's in Murders at Karlov Manor.
So
Why?
he was in Eldraine, then he was in Ixalan, and now he's in this.
Hold
So
up.
3 for 3.
I just want to say, I don't know if they did or if they haven't yet, but I'm willing to bet. And the team that manages Wizards of the Coast of Magic the Gathering's Instagram, you need to do the meme where this person's on all the side quests. You just need to make that meme of Kellen being on all the side quests because he's literally showing up, adventuring in every single set. But if you make a Kellen in every single set, I would appreciate the meme. And I'm sure that your marketing team would as well. 4 CMC, Simic, 3/4 body, flying vigilant. Whenever Kellen, inquisitive prodigy, now a detective, attacks, destroy up to one target artifact. Huh. If you controlled that permanent, draw. This is really cool. I actually really like that effect, having removal on a body. But is the investigate, you may play an additional land this turn, going to help you win any games?
It's an infinite mana outlet in the command zone.
Yeah.
Just recast infinitely, play every land out of your deck, and then win with whatever.
So this is true of this is also true of the Gruul one we received from LCI. Do you like the Simic one as a potential infinite mana outlet?
So this is true for the so this is true for all 3 Kellens. All 3 Kellens are infinite mana outlets, funnily enough.
Yeah, the Boros one too. All right, okay. So is this one the best because it's okay? Wait. Which Kellen is best? If you guys remember the Will, can you explain the Kellens really quick?
Sure.
What all of them do? But yeah.
So the first Kellen was a Boros Kellen that when he attacks, he buffs your creatures for the number of equipment on him, and you can pay to tutor for an equipment or an aura from your deck and attack, or tutor for an equipment or an aura, put it to your hand. So he's a tutor on one side, he's a anthem on the other side. The second one is when it attacks, you can put a low CMC creature from the top view of your deck into your hand. And the other side is you make a map for every player who has, I think, a non-basic land. And then this one is this one. You can see it on screen. So all 3 Kellens are infinite mana outlets in some way, shape, or form. The first Kellen can find you an equipment, which is an infinite mana outlet, and then you can just loop with that. The second Kellen makes you infinite maps, which you can use to go through your whole deck and try to win the game there because you explore infinite times. The third Kellen gives you infinite investigates and infinite additional land plays per turn.
Yo, we're also in blue for all of the artifact tutors. I really love the suggestion Abzo made of liquid metal torque so that you can convert things into artifacts. And Kellen just like goes on a rampage. Unfortunately, you don't have Dalny in this list, so you only get to destroy one thing per turn.
Yeah.
But it's still quite good.
I'll say this is one of the this is a mid outlet. Because
I'm so sorry. You're right. You're right. Okay, we're gonna end this. It is Selesnya, not Gruul.
Yeah.
My
Yeah, yeah.
mistake. My mistake. We're new poll. New poll. Keep going, Will. Sorry.
So uh this Kellen is kind of one of the more mediocre mana outlets that we have in Simic, because you have to compare stuff to Thrasios. Thrasios is really good, Kinnan is really good. For Simic commanders by themselves, there's better options for infinite outlets and a combo off themselves. So Kellen is just kind of awkward, because also you cannot have Kellen on the board to go infinite. You have to have Kellen in the command zone or in the hand. So sadly, this is probably the worst Kellen in kind of only an okay mana outlet. But the attacking effect is kind of funny with liquid metal coating and liquid metal torque, as you were saying. But I'd say this Kellen is probably a C or D.
Would you rather play Kinnan over Kellen?
Yeah, significantly so.
Would
My
you
issue
play?
is
Would you
that
play Kinnan and Kellen?
no, probably not,
If
because you need infinite colored mana.
if Kinnan and Kellen killed a felon, then would I? No, I'm sorry. I'm trying to make a tongue
Trying
twister.
to come up with a line for
All
that.
right. So D is what you're saying, Will?
Probably D, because 4 mana for a remove an artifact every turn effect that occasionally draws you a card isn't that great, and the initial side is explore, more or less, but worse. So
Yeah. So bad.
yeah.
All right, we're moving on to Krenko, Baron of Tin Street. So, 2 generic, red, keeping it red, keeping it gobbo. 3/3 body, haste, sacrifice an artifact you need to tap to do this. Put 1/1 counter on each goblin you control. That's not so bad. Whenever an artifact is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you may pay 1 red. If you do, create a 1/1 goblin creature token that gains haste until the end of turn. So how does this sequence, Will? If I were to sacrifice an artifact, then I get a trigger that says I can create a goblin. I create the goblin by paying a red. Then I put a 1/1 counter on each goblin you control. So Krenko and that freshly made goblin are a 4/4 and a 2/2. The 2/2 can attack. Krenko is just chilling.
Yeah.
Is that how I'm reading this? Now, the
Yeah.
only thing is you need to make artifacts. So,
Yeah, and there's a couple things you can do here, because one thing, I have a friend who has a couple different goblin strategies and has a cEDH goblin deck, and it's a Auntie, the Raid Mother. And he likes Krenko, this Krenko specifically, and I think he might make another goblin deck with this Krenko as the commander, or put this Krenko in the 99 of a deck, because his second favorite deck is KCI. The interesting things that you can do with this Krenko, one, cracking a treasure will get the Krenko trigger after you make the mana, meaning that you can pay the red from the treasure to make a hasty goblin, so you can turn Dockside into a goblin generator if you want, which is kind of cool and kind of funny. The really interesting thing that I thought was kind of interesting but not good enough was Mycosynth Lattice makes all of your goblin tokens artifacts. Turf Prospector lets you sacrifice goblin tokens to make red. You can get infinite death triggers and infinite goblins that you can tap to do whatever, or infinite goblins that you can tap before sacking them to do whatever you want, so that you have infinite death triggers and infinite ability to tap goblins to do weird things. Sadly, I don't think it's good enough for cEDH, but for casual, this has a lot of fun implications, and it has a nice cross compatibility for goblin artifact synergies.
Hmm. This plus the new goblin from MKM that makes a red pip every time you sack an artifact in Dockside.
Yeah. The crime novelist.
Crime novelist. Crime novelist, whenever you shit the bed to create a red, what is it?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Whenever you sacrifice an artifact, you make a red mana,
All right, so.
and then put a +1/+1 counter on crime novelist.
Ooh, so the world's biggest crime novelist. Tons of combo options, but needs too many pieces for S. I would agree. The audience says it's A tier legendary.
Well, I mean, I'd like somebody to kind of
talk you into
give
that.
the line, like
I
give
think
the
it's
play line, because the
I think
issue
it's
is that
potentially cEDH vibe. I would put it in B. I wouldn't say this is an A. So, but yeah, Will, like you were saying, let us know the exact lines of play, and we mean not the A plus B plus C, but like what is the stuff that's going to help you set all this up? Is there a fun, conspicuous Snoop pile we can do here?
well, if you're doing conspicuous Snoop, you might as well just do the Kiki Jiki and win line. But
Right, right. So why would you use Goblin Recruiter to set that up?
yeah, the issue with this Cranko is that it is a tap effect for sacrificing artifacts for the first part, and the second effect makes goblin tokens, and the only way to kind of loop with that is to make those goblin tokens artifacts, which there's only one card that really does that.
Liquid Metal Torque.
Well, yeah, but that makes one
Okay.
goblin an artifact one time. The other one is the silver skin cloak, or whatever that thing is called, the thing that just says equip
Yeah,
creatures and
you just
artifact.
right, but it costs mana, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Which means that you need to have a sack outlet that makes mana and something that makes mana off of the creature dying, like Crime
Is there
Novelist.
like a changeling generator that functions in this, like artifact changeling, artifacts goblin generator?
Well, so people were saying that it changes go wide goblins into go tall goblins. Technically, but the issue is it's +1/+1 per turn. Any goblin anthem effect does that, and usually does that better.
Right. It's
So
also taking Krenko out of the equation on any of these like attacks. So, and you need to sacrifice an artifact still to do so. Which I mean, you're going to generate. You should hopefully be generating artifacts in this mono red list, and I mean
yeah,
probably
OG
treasures.
OG Cranko is just better, in my opinion.
Yeah,
It,
I'm kind of iffy on this. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I'm okay on this. People clearly have a different opinion. Maybe there's a deck out there that we should look at, but I'm of the B range on this. I think it's fine. You could probably make the cEDH playable, but there's probably better mono red commanders you could be playing,
so
like
people said
Inti.
infinite treasure outlet, which is true. And what you can do is use Goblin Tutors to find Dockside and Goblin Engineer. Goblin Engineer finds Cloudstone Curio, and then you can make infinite treasures that way. I know that's a combo because I have a friend who runs that in his Rakdos Goblins. Um, the issue is that is so much time and so much energy just to tutor for two goblins that require you to play them out, wait a turn, then flip into Cloudstone Curio for infinite treasures, and then win the game. That's like a turn 5, turn 6 win.
Yeah, I don't
There's
know.
way better things. Just play Godo. If you want to do mono red, just play Godo.
I do think Godo is like the clear S tier legendary for mono red at this
Yeah,
point in time.
Godo and Magda are the two best.
Right. Yeah, no, I like that. I mean, again, just sacrificing a treasure gets you there. I get what you're saying with the 1/1 bodies. If there are easier ways to make infinite treasures, then clearly Krenko's great. I'm Dasa. I don't know, Dasa, make the list, bring it to FNM. I want to see you play it. But I'm going to say right now it's a B tier for me.
I'd say C. I say hard C. He doesn't do anything really competitive, but he does a lot of great things in casual.
Whoa, okay. Well, I mean, what are the combos with the we just mentioned him earlier, the guy who copies spells, make treasures, Stormkill and Artist. What are those combos?
Mostly like Zada things. It's like Zada, Bergie, other things like that. That's what you do with Stormkill and Artisan. And you just storm off doing that. You don't really make infinite treasures off of Stormkill outside of comboing with your commander.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving on to Kylock's Visionary Inventor for do I need to read this one?
Speaking of war,
7 mana. Yeah, well, here you're getting what you pay for, I guess. For 7 mana, 4/4/4/4 Menace Ward 2 Haste. Okay, give me a good reason to play this. Whenever Kylock's Visionary Inventor attacks, sacrifice any number of other creatures, then exile the top X cards of your library where X is their total power. You may cast any number of instant sorcery spells from among the exiled cards without paying their mana cost.
so Narset. This is the 6 mana Narset, but as a 7 mana commander, you lose white, but has haste, has menace to kind of make up for no first strike, and can dig into your deck harder, but you need to have creatures in a weird way. I don't hate him, but I don't love him. Um, the main thing that you can do with this commander is there's a couple spells that say make a token that's power and toughness is equal to the number of spells in your graveyard and in your exile. So you can make a really big token, mix it with extra turn and extra combat spells, and dig through your entire deck very quickly. My problem is Narset is probably just better because you don't need to build into that whole creature package.
Hmm.
But there is definitely potential for this to be a cEDH commander. I would say B for Kylox, or however you pronounce that name.
So Kylox is the most interesting character Wizards have made just to die. Is that true?
I don't know. I don't know the story from the set.
Kylox token intro extra turns.
I think he meant into. I think that was an
Kylox
extra.
Kylox extra turns. Kylox
So
extra turns,
token
folks.
into extra turns, yeah. Because extra
What do you
turns and
think,
extra
Will?
combats just goes off.
What do you think?
Yeah, like it's not bad. Like this is definitely a pretty good B. The only reason why I don't say A is because high seems C, and you have to build around him pretty hard by adding in spells that make tokens or creatures with high power that you can't cast when you start storming off.
What is the name of that dragon that just puts your commander from the command zone onto the battlefield?
Something Hellkite.
Is it less than Kylox? Is what I'm asking.
1 mana by 1 mana.
Kylox is a D. You need to have a winning board state to win. You need a winning board state to win. Well, that's true of any list. You need a winning board state. You need a winning board state with any list to win. But I mean, it's not like generating a winning board state by dropping Thassa's Oracle.
I'll say that if you have any number of creatures in play, it usually starts your engine and then kind of gets you there, because if you hit an extra combat, you can keep going, and if you have any way of making extra creatures, you go off. If you have the thing, or if you have anything with stats equal to the number of spells in your graveyard, it will eventually be a really high-powered creature, and it'll make you go like 10 to 20 into your deck, which will find you several extra turn spells, several extra combat spells, and keep on going. Better than D. At minimum C, but I'm willing to say B.
Look, I'm going to put it in B because I do think that there is something here. I don't think it's anything good, but I feel like all of Izzet's what is the best Izzet legendary and outside of partner pairings?
Either
Niv Perun?
Either Vadrik or Gale or Niv Perun. Those are the three that I can think of. Or Malcolm Kedis.
Right.
There's a lot. There's a lot of good options in Izzet, but this is probably the best extra turn option in Izzet.
Okay, so what I'm saying is like it's bringing something unique to the table. It's not necessarily bad. There is support for it. Like any of these leaders that do require this level or degree of support aren't going to rank higher than this. But it's like a build around situationally viable commander in the same way Krenko is, in my opinion. So I'm cool with that. I'm cool with him being in B.
I definitely think that he's better than Krenko. So if he was a C, I'd throw a fit.
You have rituals to play him. Fact. Yeah, you are in red. Lavinia, foil to conspiracy. For a generic and Azorius, 2/3 body, human detective, vigilance. How many detectives are on the scene? Whenever you cast your second spell, each turn, investigate. You can tap to generate 2 colorless, activate only during your opponent's turn. This is freaking awesome. It's just a value mander, but it like, mind you, I don't I wish this said partner. Or partners with, because like you don't want her to be your main legendary, but for a main legendary, this is pretty value town. This isn't bad. Is this bad, Will? This feels kind of good.
Not that bad, just because you can pretty easily cast 2 spells on your turn, crack the clue on an opponent's turn by tapping Lavinia. You can also try doing Isochron Scepter Dramatic Reversal and have Lavinia be the thing that pays for Isochron Scepter, but as long as it's an opponent's turn. There's funny things that you can do with Lavinia, you're usually only drawing one extra card per turn off of this. So
Yeah.
I'd say like C for casual or D. C for clue. C for clue because it's from the clue set.
I'm going to give it C for clue, personally. Adasa is trying to make a point on needing creatures for Kylox to function. And, you're really not on that many creatures if you're in blue. Like, I don't disagree on some of these points.
Yeah, the only reason why Kylox is still good enough in my book is that you just run a few creatures with high power. And I don't mean like you run really weird sized dorks. You can run the creatures that say, my power is equal to the number of spells in your graveyard. And if you're playing cEDH, that's probably going to be like 8. So you can pretty easily get Kylox to start storming off if you're running any of those. And a couple of those are spells that make those guys. So you do get to storm off relatively easily.
So
it is a build around. It's a build around, but it's not a hard build around.
Oh, we have so many legendaries. Let's try to, let's see what we can do. We're gonna rapid fire here, Will. Lazov, wearer of not to say we need to rush this, but I want to try to keep it under 3 hours. Yeah. Lazov, wearer of faces, Dimir, 2/3 body. When Lazov attacks, exile target card from a graveyard, then investigate. We all know what that does. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, investigate. You may have Lazov become a copy of a creature card exiled with it until end of turn. Where are you on this Dimir bad boy?
Pseudo Agatha's Soul Cauldron in the command zone that draws about as many cards as the previous Lavinia. I think that he's really good because not only can you exile your opponent's Rule of Law to make a Rule of Law that you can turn on and off as you please, but you can exile your own or someone else's Razaketh to just win the game. Really good. Especially on 2 CMC for Grave Hate and Draw. I'd say like A.
Right. So I love Lazov. I would say A or B.
I almost go S, but I think A is way more fitting because he's not going to be a staple.
No, so I don't know. I look at 2 CMC commanders, and it's just like you can just get hit by a multitude of things. 2/3 body is pretty resilient. I think you're in Dimir though, so you have a decent amount of evasion and counter interaction and reanimate. Sacrifice a clue, man.
Well, I want to point out you do not need evasion on Lazov, mainly for the fact that if you attack, you exile a creature, he will change his stats to that creature's stats. So if you have someone trying to block you with a high-powered creature, you can just say like, I'm going to become an Eidolon of Rhetoric. I have 4 toughness and live.
Yeah. Man, okay. I like it a lot. I think that there are cool combos that you can employ here. Obviously, the strategy being you can exile something from your graveyard. So if you've entombed something, you can just set up your own combo line here. And as Will said, it's pretty much like having Agatha's Soul Cauldron, except you don't always have it active, but you're also becoming that creature. So again, like Will was saying, stat-wise, everything changes. Become an Eldrazi before it shuffles itself to library.
True.
Technically, you need to target though. Yeah,
you have to attack.
You need to attack and target. So you can't put this trigger on the stack, entomb, and then do it because it needed to have targeted the thing before it ever hit the graveyard.
Stifle the Eldrazi trigger.
That's it, Will. Wish he was a rogue though. Well, it doesn't need to be a shuffle titan. The other titans are solid, right? But aren't they all on attack? Like attack annihilator or whatever.
Yeah, funnily enough, you could just exile It That Betrays, and then have a weird
cool
sack shenanigans thing.
Ooh, yeah, make it into Eldrazi with Annihilator. Yeah, honestly, man, yeah, I really like. I'm gonna say it's a. Are you B or A? Where are you, Will?
I'm saying A. I'd be willing to be talked into S, but I say A more than S by a long shot. The reason is, you can get him out he is easy to get out like Oswald. He hates on people's graveyards, he draws you an extra card every turn, and is just a really good utility commander on top of the fact that he has just a way to cheat out Razaketh really easily for 2 mana at instant speed.
All right, audience,
really good.
What is your dream target for Lazov? Specifically creature. It's for you, it's Eldrazi. I keep hearing Eldrazi in the chat. What is your dream creature for Lizov where faces? I'm curious to know what you'd love to pull out of your list.
Yeah, become Draco.
Become Draco without downside. Yeah, let me know. I want to know what Lizov players would technically use. I'm going to put it in A for now. I think that I would really like to build Lizov next on the channel. Personally, Lizov is the legendary that interests me most from this set. I'm a little bit of a Dimir kick personally, so I'd be interested in brewing this and just like wreaking freaking havoc, man. All right, we have Lonus back again, genetics expert, 3 CMC, 1/2 body, evolve. Whenever one or more +1/+1 counters are put on Lonus, investigate that many times. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, put a 1/1 counter on another target creature. Target creature. Oh, so you can't go infinite off of herself. Okay.
I was looking to see if there was something that says when an artifact enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. I couldn't find one. There may still be one, and I might have missed it, but I couldn't find one. This does still make a couple clues, which is nice. However, doesn't get there too well. So I'd say this is a fun casual commander, but not anything competitive.
What is that black card that says when you connect with an opponent, they lose the game? If you do damage?
Phage.
Phage. That's kind of a fun. I forget how Phage reads. How do you lose the game?
So, if Phage enters the battlefield but was not cast from hand,
then it doesn't matter. Then it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Lazov's like, oh, sweet. Let me just Phage you to death. I kind of like, okay, so look, it's not the most cEDH thing, but again, I'm also a sucker for the One Punch Man combo. I mentioned Shu Yun in our...
That is funny.
I mentioned Shu Yun in our short video on him, but hell yes, I will bury it alive and just have Phage be one of the other targets. Like, you never know. That's my backup plan. I'll leave it there until I decide I want to remove one of you players.
The only thing I'm looking for is I'm looking for somebody to say a non-legendary creature just because Unmarked Grave, because I want to see if there's a good Unmarked Grave hit. So far, it does not look like it, but we can wait. We have time.
All right, so Lonus, are we going to put her in D?
C.
Okay.
I think Lonus can get away with C because you can do some fun clue stuff there and fun +1/+1 counter stuff. People always like that in casual.
Yeah, people like that. I'm with you, Will. Marvo, Deep Operative. What the fuck am I looking at?
The freaking octopus. It's an octopus rogue, by the way.
I missed this one.
I'd like to point out, it's a freaking octopus that's trying to pick up a dagger.
Yeah. Will, can you go over this one? I'm sorry.
Sure.
What is this?
5 mana, including blue and a black, for a 1/8 legendary creature octopus rogue. Whenever Marvo attacks, also, by the way, love the name Marvo. Sounds like some kind of weird DC C-lister villain.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So whenever Marvo attacks,
the one Batman ignores
player.
Yeah.
Whenever you win a clash, draw a card and cast a spell from your hand with CMC 8 or less without paying its mana cost. Free PETA. Not bad, because if you just play Marvo and just keep attacking over and over and over again, you'll get like a couple draws here and there, and then eventually you're just gonna go, by the way, win the game. And then I have all the mana to keep up with the win or to combo off with PETA. Really like Marvo. Marvo isn't high playability for cEDH, but I think that it kind of pays for Naws preemptively and draws into Naws. So I like B for Marvo. C might be more fitting, but you could make cEDH Marvo.
Which precon is this in?
The Dimir one.
Oh, well, that makes sense. Where are you with Marvo?
Also, Marvo could potentially be in a collector pack thing, but I don't know. I'm thinking either B or C for Marvo. Because you could just play PETA for 0 mana and then have up all the interaction to protect PETA and all the mana to protect PETA.
You're in the color of Vampiric Tutor, Imperial Seal, like...
Yeah, you win clashes. That is not a question at all. You
But
vampired
I'll say
tutor.
C. Marvo deserves a C or B. Marvo
B.
deserves a B. I think that you could do like Will was saying. You could win those clashes.
I, I remember when you and Ernesto were arguing for a card very similar to Marvo to be an A.
Were we?
Yeah, so it was one of the pairing guys, the like Thalia and Gitrog type of things.
Oh,
It was Hidetsugo and something else, the blue dragon, I think.
Kairi,
Um
Hitotsugo. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that was a combo you guys kind of like because you were saying, oh, you can Vampire Tutor to play PETA for free. And I think this does functionally the exact same thing.
Well, except that this is, I think the ETB on this is good because you could just go
This is not an
infinite.
ETB, it is an attack trigger.
No. Hidetsugu and Kairi
Oh,
are
got it.
enter the battlefield, draw 3 cards, put 2 cards. So it's an outlet. And then you obviously can set up the thing elsewise. It's just good value. I never built Hidetsugu and Kairi, but it's fucking dank. Dude, such a cool ass legendary pairing. I would
But
build this though.
it's cooler than Hidetsugo and Kairi?
Go for it.
Marvo.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I thought you were going to suggest Massacre Girl,
No.
known killer. All right, so she's a human assassin, 4/4 for 4. You got to get the waifu version. Menace, creatures you control have Wither. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, if its toughness was less than 1, draw a card.
Interesting. I'd probably say D. I don't think anybody's even building Massacre Girl as a casual commander. Might be going the 99, but if we're casual, but I don't think anybody's building this Massacre Girl.
Hoarder's Greed in Marvo. Hoarder's Greed in Marvo.
I gotta look up what that is.
Yeah, I gotta look up what that is too. God, you guys make me look up cards. I didn't think I should have put up a separate thing. Yeah, there you go. Separate thing. You lose 2 life and draw 2 cards when you then clash with an opponent. If you win, repeat this process.
Oh, that's funny with Marvo, because Marvo just says whenever you win a clash, cast something for free. Or draw and cast something for free. So you could just go like, do, off Marvo.
S tier. He's Marvel-less tier.
Hold up, I really quickly just want to look up all of the clash cards that are relevant in our colors, because there's probably...
Look at Will brewing for Marvel right now.
Let's see.
Make it happen.
You can clash for just 1 mana for an instant, and it's counter target spell unless its controller pays X, and then clash with an opponent. And then if you win that clash, that spell's controller mills 4. So you can there's a couple things that you can do here, because there's a couple 2 CMC and less clash effects. So you can build Clash in Marvo. I don't think you need Clash in Marvo, but you could build Clash in Marvo. I very much like the that other card though, the Hoarder's Greed.
Yes,
That's
me too.
funny.
All right, Will, Master Plum, do it to us.
All right. Yes, Master Plum. So, Master Plum is 2 and a black for a legendary creature, human wizard. Master Plum has 2 power and 2 toughness, and whenever Master Plum attacks, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. If it was an artifact exiled this way, make a treasure. Whenever you cast a spell, if you used a treasure to pay for it, then you draw a card and lose 1 life. Master Plum is really funny and really interesting because Black has a lot of ways of making incidental treasures here and there, and you can very easily draw through your whole deck because you can crack a treasure for Dark Ritual, draw a card, lose a life, make 3 black. Then crack a treasure, pay 2 of that black that you have floating, cast Grim Tutor. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. You can do Pitiless Plunder, which will give you treasures whenever a creature dies, so that you can just play a creature, sack it, gain a treasure, play another creature, sack it, gain another treasure, keep going. Ruthless Technomancer also gives you a weird combo here and there to make infinite treasures. You can do a lot with Plum. Plum is a really good Black Storm commander, not as good as Carrick, but he's there. He's interesting. I think that he's fun enough to potentially try out. Also, a little bit of Grave Hate and a little bit of Ramp in the command zone is nice.
It's a do nothing on cast, and it's a 2/2 body, so it's frail, but
But Patrick, it passes the Mana Crypt test.
no, it does. Revel in Riches will play Revel in Riches.
Yeah.
No, so don't play Revel in Riches. All right, S tier.
Probably not S tier, but like somewhere in A and B. There is definitely cEDH potential there. I don't know how hard he goes in cEDH.
I'm sorry, Marvo is my like meter. Marvo is my standard, so it's not Marvo. It's not better than Marvo. So
It is not better than Marvo, but it is. Like honestly, Marvo could potentially be A, but
I'm gonna put it in B with Marvo,
yeah.
and then later
Gotta love Marvo.
we'll revisit Marvo later. There's a poll going for Marvo right now.
Yeah, Marvo's
also-
S tier. Come on, let's be honest.
He also passes the Dark Ritual test, sure, but
That's also true. Yeah.
attacks, exile one of the things, exile a card from graveyard, create a treasure token. If it was an artifact, I don't know. Like, we'll see. So I guess it passes a Jeweled Lotus test, and then you exile your own Jeweled Lotus.
Yeah, true.
Melik Reforged Researcher, 5 mana for star. Weird detective. Melik Reforged Researcher's power and toughness are each equal to twice the number of instants and sorcery cards in your graveyard. The first instant and sorcery spell you cast each turn costs 3 less to cast. Well, you spent 5 for this guy, so I hope you get something out of it.
Melik beats. Let's go. Play those extra turn spells for 2 mana and punch for 21 every combat. You're out for blood.
But really though, do you think there's actual hope in this? We had another extra turn. Is it, Commander?
Yeah. So
is this better than
Melik is funny. You legitimately are probably trying to win through combat damage because you can just play all of the cantrips, all of the rituals, getting 10 or 11 of them in graveyard so that Melik is a one-shot isn't too hard. Then you reduce the cost of your extra turn spells or your X cost spells and then do fun stuff. I don't know if he's cEDH viable. He's either the lowest B that we have so far or like one of the higher C's. Because honestly, I think casual players are going to hate facing against Melik because that is a lot of stats for a medium amount of mana.
Yeah.
I will say, we do 100% put Melik in a Kylox.
Oh yeah.
Get double star. Let's go.
No, I'm gonna put Melik in C.
Yeah.
It's just okay. Sorry, gang. We got Mirko. You want to discuss Mirko?
Mirko. So I'm gonna say this right now. I think Mirko is probably A, but Mirko is 1 blue and black for a legendary creature, vampire detective with flying, vigilance, 1 attack, and 3 toughness. Whenever you surveil, you put a +1/+1 counter on Mirko, and at the beginning of your end step, you reanimate a creature with power less than Mirko's power, and then put a finality counter on it. The reason why Mirko is really good, if you have any way of buffing Mirko, or if you surveil at any point, it now also misread that Mirko reanimates a creature with power less than Mirko. I think I said with CMC less than Mirko's power. It's less power than Mirko. The reason why that's relevant, Thorkel has 1 power. If Mirko gets to 2 power, you can reanimate Thorkel. So any mill combo will win you the game, because you just reanimate Thorkel with no cards in your deck. That makes Basalt Monolith Mesmeric Orb good. You can also just kind of recur a couple of creatures here and there for value off of Mirko, which is pretty nice. There's also a couple surveil lines that you can do, like the Doomweaver, I think is the name of the card, that just says pay 2 life,
Doom
surveil
Whisperer.
2. Doom Whisperer, thank you.
He whispers Doom will.
Yeah.
He doesn't weave it into a pattern. Okay.
He whispers at you for 30 freaking commander damage.
Can you imagine this like creepy looking dude coming up to you on a back alley and he's just like,
hey kid, want to rearrange the top of your library?
and he looks like he's gonna kill you. Watching through iPhone, so that might be why. Thank you for letting me know, Espresso. It shouldn't do that. It shouldn't start you from the beginning of playback, but that is them trying to get you to buy Prime or Premium, I'm sure. Discount
Probably.
Carmen, Will. Thoughts?
Yeah, it is discount Carmen. It's 2 less mana than Carmen, but also harder to buff than Carmen. It's discount Carmen. I'm not gonna deny that at all. But it is in the better colors to combo, which is the only reason why probably better Carmen.
I want to put it in the B tier. I don't
I
think it's Lazov good.
it's maybe Lazov good, but I'm willing to put it in the B tier as like one of the higher Bs.
Is it Marvo good?
Nothing is Marvo good, Patrick.
I
We're
just
changing him to S tier at the end of that poll, let's be honest. It's not even an option. People will write it in.
apparently the thing Mirko is obsessed with is finding the true identity of Lazov. If that's true, that's
We gotta put Mirko in A then, right? Mirko's there with Lazov.
no, that's not how this works. It's only Ansrag and Lazov territory right now. Do you guys think we're gonna get an S tier commander from this set?
Doing like a quick look through, maybe one. There's maybe one that I think could be S tier, but in the end, it's probably gonna end up being A tier.
And Will is saying it's Morkska Undersea Sleuth. For 3 mana total, 2/3 body, you have no maximum hand size. This is a Vidalcan fish detective, okay? At the beginning of your upkeep, investigate. Lame. Whenever you draw your second card, each turn, put 2+1/+1 counters on Morksha, Undersea Sleuth.
Hey, also, really quick, I don't know where you got the shuff from in there. Morska?
Oh, I'm looking. Even with my glasses, that looks like an
Okay,
H.
yeah.
That looks like
But
okay.
Morska is
I hate it.
interesting because I don't think we have a good commander that says have no max hand size. You do have the ability to draw an additional card every turn, and Morska can get really big really fast because if you're drawing on your opponent's turns or have heuristic study out, this thing is getting like +8/+8 every turn, more or less. Um,
The pip is what's going to hold it back.
the pip is what's holding it back
Yeah.
100% because you are probably casting this at the same time that you're casting Zur.
Even if
You would
this was
rather
just
have
like
Zur.
even if this was just a split pip, like generic Selesnya split and then blue, even if it was just that, it would be more playable. But the fact that you have to commit to those 3 colors does cause pause.
Yeah.
Anytime I can't use my overpriced Jeweled Lotus, I get upset.
I know. I will say this is probably a low B, maybe a like higher C, because can get big really quickly and is in the colors to stall out the game. So you could just do a commander's beat strategy, and you have no max hand size. You have all of the interaction held up all of the time. Uh,
I like it enough.
yeah, it's weird, Brina.
Let's go. Yeah, weird Brina. I'm gonna say it's B as well. I'm happy with that. Mork
But is
Ska.
it as good as Marvo?
That's exactly my point. I don't think it gets to A because it doesn't pass the Marvo meter.
Yeah, honestly, Marvo could just be A tier, in my opinion. I think we might just
Really?
move Marvo to A tier in the
So
end.
we'll have to take a look later because
Yeah,
I have a poll going and people say no. Marvo is not cEDH playable. And they're fucking wrong. But that's what I'm hearing. So I guess I need to prove a point. I'll make Marvo cEDH playable. You just wait. You just wait for me to clash with you, boy.
also, really quick, people play this one Sphinx that's basically worse Marvo, and it's like actually somewhat good. I'm gonna quickly look up what it is.
Yeah, Tivit. Maybe
Um,
you've heard of it.
not Tivit. It's Yanet. People play Yanet, and Yanet is like weird Marvo because Yanet is a flying vigilance menace. Whenever Yanet attacks, reveal the top card of your library. If it's odd cost, you may cast it for free. If you don't cast it, you may draw a card. People do Turbo Peta with Yanet. Marvo is like weird Peta. Or is like
Marvo's
weird.
better. Marvo's better, Turbo
Yeah,
Peta.
yeah. Marvo's kind of better Yanet
Because it's
because
like it's in your hand, right? Don't you draw first? So like you could
yeah,
use any tutor to put the thing in your hand. It's not the card you reveal or whatever. You
yeah. And
can,
if you already have Peta in hand, Marvo just says, okay, oh look, I hit a 2 cost and you hit a land. Free Peta.
sweet. Damn, Marvo for cEDH.
Yeah, Marvo's way better Yanet, and people people hard stand by Yannette. Like there are a lot of people who say like Yannette is the best Esper commander before uh Tevish or not Tevish Tivit before
Yeah,
Tivit came out. People said Yannette was the best Esper commander. Not everybody agreed with that, but there was a lot of people who fought for that.
I
But
could
Marvo's
s-
just better Yannette.
I could see him trying to become a merfolk and combine. The combine is all like we'd be happy to help sign the release form, please. For Morkska, yeah. These Vidalcan fish detectives, just call it a merfolk at this point.
No, like that is the reason why he's a Vidalcan fish detective instead of a merfolk is because this is the set where if you're in Simic, you're two weird things combined.
There you go.
Like, let's see, other Simic commanders we have. We have a crocodile elk turtle, and we have an elf ooze wizard.
Yeah, Venefar's been an elf ooze with. All right, all right, all right. So
And
Nelly
elf
Borka.
wizard. Elf wizard for a while. Recently, elf ooze wizard.
All right, Will, are we gonna break the curse of Boros this set?
No,
Nelly Borka, impulsive accuser. Is she anything other than a D?
she is a D. I'm not, like, I'll quickly read over her.
D
So,
for
ooh,
detective?
D for detective. But, Nelly, 4 mana for a human detective with vigilance, 2 power, 4 toughness. Whenever Nelly attacks, suspect target creature, then goad all suspected creatures. Whenever one or more creatures an opponent controls deal combat damage to one or more opponents, you and the controller of that creature each draw a card. So you can draw like 4 cards per rotation off of this. Boros isn't looking for draw. Boros is looking for clean combos because Boros is not in the colors to draw. Also, you have to hope your opponents don't have a big creature because they're just gonna block this and potentially kill this. The whole goad thing is still nice because if you keep attacking with this, everything is goaded all the time, everything's suspected all the time, so the things can't block, and the things have menace, so things can't be blocked easily as well. This could work. Honestly, thinking about it, it could be maybe maybe a B, very low B, because what you can do is just stacks out the entire board, go to everything, and then draw a couple cards every turn with rule of laws in play to prevent people from comboing out and forcing people to beat everybody down. It's a weird beat strategy. It could get there. I'm not a big fan of it.
I'm gonna put her in C.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna be CDH playable. Poisonally, but I hear you on all your points. And someone else was referencing how it does draw a few cards, quite a few
Yeah,
cards.
it will draw like 3 extra cards per rotation, giving each opponent a card as well. So it's like a group hug slash group slug deck, but eh.
Yeah.
Boros, I wish it was Azorius. I just wish that you had interaction on the stack to make it so that you could go even slower.
Can I just say D for Niv Mizzet Guild Pack and we move on?
Oh, see. He's very fun as casual. He's not good as competitive at all.
Okay, that's fair.
Uh, Long and short, I'll give the one run through. Wooburg flying hexproof from multicolor, and whenever he attacks, whenever he deals combat damage to a player, you deal X damage and draw X cards, where X is the number of color pairings on your board. So only the 2 color combos. And it's the number of different color pairings. So if you have like 30 Simic cards in play, no, that does not give you 30 draw, you get 1.
Weak.
Fun, but weak.
We have Rakdos, Patron of Chaos. That's
Can we
right,
just put
everybody.
this as D and move on? This Rakdos makes me sad. He's just been getting worse.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if Rakdos got cancer or something like that, and he's just been slowly
Oh.
dying.
It
But
says
like,
finally, I thought it read final performance, but it says finally a performance worthy of my applause. Will,
no,
are you not applauding?
no. So let me give like the rundown of Rakdos. First Rakdos was make all of your Eldrazi cost 0 mana. Second Rakdos was constantly wipe the boards and make people very annoyed. And then you have another Rakdos that's demon tribal in a weird way. And then you have this Rakdos, which is just make some people sack things. Yeah, it's a coin flip Rakdos was the other one. So the second Rakdos is whenever he attacks, sack half your non-demon permanents, and then when he deals combat damage, that player sacks half of their non-demon permanents. Then you have the coin flip Rakdos, which is kind of worse than the other one, and you have this Rakdos, which is at your end step,
why is this in Ravnica
opponent-
Clue Edition? Sorry, it's the the coin flippy ones in the Ravnica set. It would suck to pull this over one of the newer things, but continue.
But then you have a Rakdos Patron of Chaos, which is just at the beginning of your end step, target opponent may sacrifice 2 non-land, non-token permanents. If they don't, you draw 2 cards. 6 mana, draw 2 additional cards every turn, or have an opponent sacrifice 2 things that they may or may not want in the graveyard. Sad.
Let's go with D.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's go with D on him.
There's a 4 mana demon that's better than that.
Next up, though, we have Senator Peacock, if I'm not mistaken. For 5 CMC, 3/4 body, artifacts you control are clues, in addition to their other types, and have the thing that clues do. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, target creature can't be blocked this turn.
This would be fun at like 1 or 2 mana. This is 5 mana. Or sorry, this would be fun at like 2 to 3 mana. This is 5 mana.
Yeah, I think you keep her stat line at 3/4 as well. Maybe you make her a 1/4 at 3 mana, but it's bad. There are better things to do in mono blue. But good on you if you want to make it work. We are moving to Sophia, Dogged Detective. For 4 CMC, 3/4 body, human detective, of course. When Sophia, Dogged Detective, enters the battlefield, create Tiny, a legendary 2/2 green dog detective creature token with trample. Pay 1, sacrifice an artifact, put a +1/+1 counter on each doggo you control. Whenever a dog you control deals combat damage to a player, create a food token, then investigate. This is so much text.
Yeah, Pub Stomp brought it up. Scooby-Doo reference. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's fine.
This is a weird KCI commander potentially, because when your doggos connect, you make 2 artifacts that you can play into, and you can sack the food for 2 mana and then use it to crack the clue. You can also crack any artifact to buff up your dogs. So it's kind of an infinite outlet, but also just a thing that sacks your artifacts for the sake of sacking artifacts. You have green as well to help try to find those artifact creatures a little bit better. This is probably more casual than competitive because tribal effects are a bit hard to work with.
I'll say C.
Yeah, I'd say C.
It's someone said Liquid Metal torque the dog to sack it. Yeah, kill Scooby. Sure.
Don't old yeller tiny. Don't old yeller tiny.
Aw. Sir Conrad the Grim, nope, but we've got Tessac. Check out my Tessac. Judas Hellhound.
Judas Hellhound.
Yo, this dog's actually pretty sick, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I
Speaking
feel
of
like
tribal.
Wizards messed up on this card a little bit, and I'll say why in a second. But 4 mana for a legendary creature elemental dog. It has Unleash, which says whenever this would, which says, I was about to say Undying, not Unleashed. You may have this creature enter the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. It cannot block as long as it has a +1/+1 counter on it. Other dogs you control have Unleashed. Or Unleash. Creatures you control with counters on them have Haste. Whenever Tessac attacks, add red mana for each attacking creature. Note, this mana does leave between phases. So you have to use it on the declare attacker's phase, which is horrible. I don't know why they didn't have it stay in the pool between phases, and I'm pretty sure this was a misprint. D for doggo?
I mean, when it attacks, if you have any fire breathing effect, then you have a payoff. Like, there are things you can do to play into the strategy. I don't hate it still, but I understand your dislike I think at 4 CMC, we could put it at D for Doggo, though.
I mean, it's a 4-mana 4/4 with haste that will give you a
Yeah.
bit of mana. My issue is that the mana has to be used to instant speed. Yeah, someone said it's worse than Heb. Now, granted, it does go infinite with what's it called? Aggravated Assault. It
Aggravated
goes infinite
Assault.
with.
I think you need to use Aggravated Assault on your main phase, though.
You don't. You do not. You can use it during combat.
Activate only a sorcery.
Does it really?
Yeah, that's why Neheb is good, because Neheb lets you keep the mana.
I'm sad.
Yeah,
I'm
sorry,
even more
man.
sad.
Sorry, man. Yeah. That was one of the hang-ups with the deck. So Judith's Hellhound can stay in its kennel. Happy with that. This tastes hard. Let's talk about that for a second. 3 CMC, 2/3 body, human advisor. The ghost behind her. This is probably my favorite art from the set. Good job, Chris. Next to that one detective that Vulcan Baga did that I really like. In Naya. Death Touch. At the beginning of your end step, investigate for each opponent who lost life this turn. Ooh, that's not difficult to do. Whenever a clue you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, create a 1/1 white and black spirit token with flying. This ability triggers only once each turn. Wah, wah.
So you do get like 3 clues a turn,
You
which
still
is
do. Yeah.
which is pretty nice.
And you
then
can use them off. Sorry.
whenever clue you control is put into the graveyard, period. So if you have a way of sacking artifacts, you do get to get your spirits over and over and over again. Interesting, because you will build up a spirit army and you do get a good amount of draw. But if you wanted to do a KCI deck with this, I feel like Brimaz is still probably the better option. If you wanted to do like any kind of draw effect, there are better commanders that draw. Brina, Timna, you name it. If you wanted to get tokens, there's better token options.
Do you say that this is a C for casual, or just don't play it?
Because you get 3 clues per turn,
It's really not bad.
probably C for casual.
We'll put it in the C range. I'm happy with that. Yeah, I'm happy with that. We're gonna move on to this. Will, you can take this one. Will compared it to Will compared it to
Blade.
Will compared it to Thrasios during one of our lives, and I know that ruffled a few feathers, but you can explain
I
yourself.
don't even
Will.
know why that ruffled a few feathers. It's 4 mana, draw cards. It is very Thrasios-esque.
Yeah,
I'm not saying like it's the exact same as Thrasios. It's just pay 4 mana on activate ability to draw. But
yeah.
Pride of Hulklade is 10 generic and a green. That's a lot of mana for a 1/15. That's a lot of toughness. This spell cost X less. This spell cost X less to cast, where X is the total toughness of all creatures you control. Defender, pay 2 blue until the end of the turn. Target creature you control gets +1/+0 and gains whenever this deals combat damage to a player. Draw equal to that creature's toughness, and then you can attack as though it didn't have toughness. This is really good. It's kind of peed on the command zone because you can play this about turn 3, turn 4-ish pretty consistently. You're in colors that do allow you to slow down the game enough. And when you play this, if it connects with anybody, you draw 15 cards. If you stack 2 of this activations, you draw 30 cards and just kind of immediately win the game. The one thing that I've heard people complain about is blockers. What if anybody has any way of blocking? Well, you're in blue, you have a bit of removal that you can use to get rid of the blockers. But on top of that, you only need 1 activation on this to allow this to attack. If you attack with other things, you just choose the highest toughness creature you control that didn't get blocked, and then you draw that creature. If you have Biomancer's Familiar or Training Grounds, you draw a lot of cards. And outside of that, this is also an infinite mana outlet because you make all of your creatures infinity blanks. So you do just kind of get there with this, with the amazing amount of draw, the fact that it can keep reducing the cost of itself to make up for commander tax, and the fact that this will just kind of be a 1-card combo if you have enough mana, more or less. It's a good card. Do I think that this is the best Simic commander that exists? Probably not, but
You
this
should
is
run
very, very good.
Cherix, and it'll cost 1 green. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go. But you have a couple options. My favorite one is running the green tree that swaps its toughness with your life total.
Oh, you know why though? You can nat order that. Is it how costly is that one?
It's 4 mana,
Oh, it's not even that bad.
and it's an O13 base.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. What was it called again?
I don't know the name of it, but it's like it might be Tree of Life.
There's so many trees in this game. Oh my god. Where is it, Will? Right there. Tree of Redemption, sir.
Yeah, Tree of Redemption. The Tree of
Exchanger.
Redemption
Oh,
is
I see.
3 and green for a defender that says tap. You exchange your life total with Tree of Redemption. This just becomes a 40 toughness creature. It's funny.
Okay, so Tree of Redemption. Thank you, Espresso. Let's see. Gain power when it deals combat damage to a player. Draw cards equal to. It needs to deal combat damage though. So thank God
Yeah,
for
but
the
it
plus one.
it gets +1/+0.
Right.
You're fine.
Right, and it's a defender though. But nope. It also has the ability to. Yep. Okay, so Pride of the Hulkblade. This is our first S, right?
So I think it could be S. The one thing
Whoa!
that was brought up was
I was joking, Will.
it could be an S. I think this could be an S. So people brought up that the problem with Pride could be that it doesn't have protection, doesn't have ward, anything like that. That is true. The thing is that the cost reduction makes it so that you don't care. The only thing you're really worried about is a board wipe. If it gets board wiped, that's when you're sad. But if it doesn't get board wiped, you're probably recasting it for 1.
If it gets board wiped?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what?
No. If
Stuck.
it doesn't, I said if it gets board wiped, you're sad. If it does not get board wiped, you're casting it for 1. So as long as you still have a board, you're recasting it for very cheap.
All right, where are you on Pride of the Hulkblade? Where are you on this card? I am of the mindset that it's no better than Marvo. So I'm gonna put it in
Like
B.
Marvo should be A. We should probably be moving Marvo
You think
to A.
the audience doesn't agree though. There's a big
Audience
divide.
is wrong.
The audience is wrong. Audience is fucking wrong.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make cEDH. Fuck it. I'm gonna make Marvo. I'm going to make Marvo. This is killing me. I need to clash. I need to show you guys the power of clash. that firm octopus backhand to the face. Let you know what it feels like. I want to do Marvo. I think that
we just have Marvo going like freaking daggers, going like, "You want to clash?
You want to clash, little boy?" Okay, I'm putting Marvo in A. I'm sorry, I've changed my mind. This is a Marvo stream. You all knew this was happening. I think Pride of the Hulkblade's a B in my opinion. I think it's a build around competitive commander that can win in certain situations, but I don't think the likelihood of it winning is higher than Ansrag, Lazov, or Marvo.
I think it is higher than Ansrag. It might not be higher than Lazov, but that's just because Lazov is really, really streamlined and doesn't need to be built around outside of Entomb. And you're fine with adding Entomb to a deck where your commanders are reanimate more
I don't know, Will. You gotta run in. I gotta run Entomb in this deck. I mean,
if we put Pride as an A, we should probably put Lazov as an S, because Lazov just kind of combos way too easily and has really clean lines.
All right, Will. Wait, here. I'm gonna hold off on putting Pride of the Hulkblade anywhere. Audience, I need all 22 of you, concurrent viewers, to lend your voice to this poll. Where is Pride of the Hulkblade? So Will and I are tied between A and B. So I'm just gonna put rank A, rank B for you to vote on. So no. If you can elect not to vote if you feel it should be somewhere else. How about that? But we'll come back to Pride of the Hulkblade. I'll leave Pride of the Hulkblade in the S slot for now, just so we know that it's there. But let me know where you guys feel that belongs on our tier list, and we'll move on to Tulsimer.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Midnight's Light.
And then we're getting to Tomic very soon. I don't know why this is not letting me zoom in. I'm going to refresh this. This is very weird. It is not letting me zoom in right now.
You can just click on the card and that'll zoom it in.
Yeah, but oh, my computer's shitting the bed. Sorry, this is the way we got to do it. It's fine. It's not letting me. It's so fucking weird. All right.
Long and short, Tulsimer is 5 mana, 2 green, white, white, for a legendary creature elf scout with lifelink, 3 power, and 2 toughness. When Tulsimer enters the battlefield, you create a Voja, which is a legendary creature, green, white, wolf, with trample. Whenever a wolf you control attacks, if Tulsimer attacked this combat, target creature an opponent controls blocks that wolf this combat, if able. It's just a body. It's 2 bodies in one. It's just mainly a body because it makes legendary wolf tokens. It's not like you can stack tokens. D.
I say Tulsimer's a D as well. Voja itself is pretty solid though, but we're not there yet. There we go. Now it's working. I don't know what's wrong with my computer right now. All right. Tomic, wielder of law. Ooh, how powerful is the law, Will? We'll find out. For 3 CMC, 2/4 body, human advisor, affinity for planeswalkers, flying, vigilance. So flagellance. Whenever an opponent attacks with creatures, if 2 or more of those creatures are attacking you or a planeswalker you control, that opponent loses 3 life and you draw a card.
He's fun in the 99. He is not a great commander.
This is such a bad commander.
Yeah. D.
I'm sorry. Wait, Deep Sea Octopus. Deep Sea Octopus, really give us your opinions on Tomic. Where are you on Tomic and why? I think that there are better. I would rather play Brina.
No. Patrick, Deep Sea Octopus, give us your opinions on Marvo because it's the most fitting thing that we can ask based off of your name.
Well, sorry. Deep Sea Octopus asked about Tomic. I don't want to disappoint, so let me know your feelings on Tomic first. Can you attack with no creatures? No. To answer your question, whenever an opponent attacks with creatures.
Yeah, that is a very funny type line.
Look, Mateus, it was a rough day at the office. They need to bang these cards out. Look how many sets they're releasing this year. Just chill, man. Give them a break, okay? What are you saying? When it should have just read whenever an opponent attacks with 2 or more creatures, and those creatures are attacking you? Is that what you wanted?
Well, it could have just said whenever your opponent attacks you or a planeswalker you control with 2 or more creatures.
No, Will, that's
too succinct.
That's less words. That's 1 less comma. No, Will, we can't have that. I don't know. OG Tomic is better, says Abso. Yeah, I agree. Tomic could be a Sisay card, but not really. He's a comfort character. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like, he went like, oh yeah, I'm mono white, and just kind of like chilling while annoying people like, I'm part of the Orzhov guild now, motherers.
I build flavor first and then spice up the deck second. Deep Sea Octopi, I'm going to put it in C for comfort. Are we good with that?
I think it's a D, but okay.
C for comfort, damn it.
D for damn it.
D for damn it. You'd have to build heavy into Monarch, Coveted Jewel type stuff just to draw a card and then lose life. Kinda weak, yeah. Maybe it's templating for new card types to come in the future. Maybe. Lord only knows. Next up, we've got not this Tristani. Where's the other one? Tristani. So I'm going to leave the poll up on Pride of the Hull Clay till the end of the video, guys. So feel free to participate in that while it's still up. Tristani 3 Whispers for 3 mana, 4/4 Dryad. You can pay 2. Target. I'm not going to go over the actual color cost. Just 2. Target creature gains Death Touch until end of turn. You can pay 1. Target creature gains Vigilance until end of turn. You can pay 3. Does it bother you that it's not in numerical sequencing? It's 2, 1, 3, and not 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Anyways,
like they could have done it the other way around. No, I guess they couldn't have done it the other way around to do alphabetical order for the keywords, but
I understand why they've kept it in Wooburg order. Yeah. Right. So no, it's not even true. It's not even true.
Wooburg. It's inverse Wooburg.
But that's how the cost is set up.
Yeah.
It's forest split white. Okay. Anyway, pay 3. Target creature gains double strike until end of turn. Everything on this card is bothering me, but in the best ways possible. This art is phenomenal. I just want to thank
Yeah.
Jody for this. But let's talk about the card.
This is a amazing casual commander. For competitive, not as much, but for casual, holy crap, this is a nightmare. Um,
Hmm.
the reason why is because one, this gives any creature you control Death Touch double strike, which means that they are just killing everything.
Mm.
On top of that, you can attack with all of your things. Then when someone declares blockers, you go, okay, you know those three things that made it through? Double strike, double strike, double strike. You're dead. So I think Tristani is really good as a casual commander. For competitive, but for casual, this is brutal.
You don't want to dictate combat actions in a CDH setting?
Well, for it to be a cEDH commander, I feel like it would need to have either some kind of removal, some kind of stacks, or some kind of draw. And it doesn't really do any of those.
Are we saying that this is casually playable though?
100%. Also, 3 mana for 4/4.
Yeah, that's not
That's
bad.
just a good stat line.
That is pretty solid, yeah. I like it. There's 3 of them. Makes sense. Okay. Next up, we have Vannifar of Vault Enigma. This is one I'm honestly really excited for. I think it's kind of a dope commander. Is it Marvo good? God only knows. Marvo only knows. But wait. So I just learned if you give vigilance to a creature with exert, you can exert it when it attacks without suffering its drawback. Wizards orders casting cost pips in Wooburg order, but starting with the color that gives the shortest distance, if that makes sense. It doesn't immediately click, but I'll look over this later and maybe it'll hit me over lunch. Also, my thoughts on Marvo as a fellow octopus. I think he's neat. Thank you. Thank you, Deep Sea Octopus. Let us know if you run into Marvo. We'd love to have him on the show. If you view Wooburg on the wheel instead of a line, it makes more sense. Understood. All right, Simic gang. Where are my Simic boys at? Any Kinnan players out there? What? Elf Ooze Wizard for cost body 3/4. At the beginning of combat, on your turn, choose one. And it really does mean just choose one. Just the top one. And I'll read it for you. Cloak a card from your hand.
Yeah, that's it. They could have removed the entire other text line, and if you remove the rules text on it, you could have made one of the simplest text boxes for a potential cEDH commander next to Yargle Multani.
Yep.
So for those who don't know, because I saw people who commented on the short that we did for Vannifar, yeah, if you
How does this work?
If you cloak something, put something from your hand into play face down. If you flicker it, it will come back into play face up. And if it's permanent, it'll stick around. If it's not, it'll go to the graveyard immediately. So that means that if you play Vannifar, turn 4 and you have 1 blue remaining, you can cloak Omniscience. Essence Flux that cloaked Omniscience, and it comes back as Omniscience, and now everything in your hand is free. Yeah.
You proceed with Rhystic Study and pass.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're like, I need more cards to win this game. Okay, so what are your dream cloak targets will? What are the cloakable cards in the list? What are you running that you could tutor for or just want to see?
Pretty much any creature with a good high CMC effects that people would want to play. You can do either of the 2 good Jin Taxis. You can do Homa, you can do Nezahal, you can do Omniscience, you can do kind of name a thing that's just a good creature that costs more than 5-ish.
Yeah, I think Coma
good.
just got I think Coma, by the way, is also reprinted in this set.
So if you want to pick up that combo line, you can.
But also,
Yeah,
if you have something like a Ghostly Flicker or something that hits more than 2 things, obviously, you could double this trigger and get 2 cloaked cards from your hand. Obviously, this is very demanding on your hand, but you're also in Simic, so you probably have Mystic Rhystic. You should be drawing cards. It, obviously isn't as sexy as having drawn the command zone like a lot of the Grindier list, but I do think the effect of cheating out cards into play is really slick. So you're going to do shit that other lists that just play for value can't do as easily. But I like it. I don't know. I think it's a B. I think this is B territory. I could see this being playable. Blightsteel Colossus feels mean. Literally any big creature that doesn't have on cast trigger, pretty much. Yeah. I don't know. Where are you on this one, Will?
Uh, I'd say like B to A, somewhere around that, because you can do really, really dumb things because this cheats costs lets you get things in an instant speed and they can't be countered, period.
It is specifically instant, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
because most of your flicker effects, I should say, are instant, so yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And also you have Displacer Kitten, which will let you just flip everything whenever. Uh the fact that
Start with Displacer Kitten, or end your last cloaked card as Displacer Kitten, and then you're like, let's go.
yeah. But Vanifar is really good just because you can cheat in a lot of stuff very easily, and due to the fact that you get the thing cloaked immediately. Like Vanifar enters, move to combat, cloak something. That's really good. No one knows what the cloak card is, and people can't remove the cloak card because it has Ward 2. So you just have it there.
I keep forgetting about that. I keep forgetting about Ward 2. Look, mind you, a board wipe effect, like a Clasm would do it, mind you. So it's still killable, the thing. You would just need to have the mana open to respond to it. Mateus says that Vanifar may be S tier.
Yeah, and it really depends on how useful grinding out the game is. In this current meta, I think grindy decks are a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you can get, because you can easily go turn 1 land Dork, turn 2 land fast mana Vanifar, and then turn 3 you're cheating out an Omniscience or a Jin Gitaxis, which ends the game because everybody gets Hellbent.
Honestly,
except for you.
Jin would be it would be so cruel. I would love to cheat out Jin Gitaxis and Simic, and you have all the creature tutors to like get Jin to hand, so not a difficult setup. If a non-token creature would enter the battlefield, if it wasn't cast, exile it instead. Yeah, you could Abzo definitely in a Vanifar meta play your Containment Priest.
Joke's on you. Omniscience isn't a creature.
You know what's funny? Yeah, no, exactly. Omniscience isn't a creature, so you're safe. You just need, but you wouldn't know that, right? If he's cloaking. So it's like, how high do you value tutoring up your Containment Priest to like stop a potential play? It's interesting.
Yeah, that is the horrible situation when someone goes like, "Oh, I'm gonna tutor Jin, get Taxes to top, go to my turn, draw, and then I'm gonna cloak a card, flicker it, you flash in Containment Priest, and it's like, haha, Omniscience, I hardcast Jin."
Yeah. Oh, but cool Containment Priest. Yeah. Really cool Containment Priest, bro. Plus, Agatha's Soul Cauldron can be good as a secondary ability. Yeah, but it's like, look, the other modal effect, I'm sorry, we didn't say what it is, but you get a +1/+1 counter on each colorless creature you control. We don't really care about this, but that counter does mean that previously cloaked cards are Agatha-able. If the activated effect requires a tap. Like there are plays for this. Don't get me wrong.
I like that. That is very funny.
Are we on it? Okay, we're gonna. We need a new poll. We need a new poll. Clearly, it seems like people like Vanifar. So
Vanifar
it seems like
probably an A.
Pride is gonna stick. 64% say B. 35% say A. There is 1% that just don't exist. So let's run a poll on Vanifar. I want to see where you guys are on Vanifar. I'm gonna put S, A, or B. Where do you think she falls on this list? I had her set to B because I feel like it is going to be slower, but once you get your engine going, and it could be any number of things, the board is just fucked. Sorry for cursing so much this stream, by the way. I'm an adult male. It happens. But for anyone with sensitive ears, apologies. Vanifar. Let me know where you think she falls on this list. I really want to brew Marvo, and I really want to brew Vanifar. Damn it, dude.
Well, no, nobody's stopping you. That's funny. You might have 3 commanders that you potentially would build in paper from this set.
Well, and that's not even including Anzrag, because I like the Lazav a lot, I like the Marvo a lot, and I really do like this Vanifar a lot, like a whole lot.
4.
Yeah, this is a really cool set for like value manders. By the way, I just want to showcase this art. This art is so freaking good. If you guys haven't seen it's almost like Eldraine story border treatment, I guess you would say. But her oozy elf self just sitting in the middle of like a giant town, or sorry, she's a giant in the middle of this like town border with this mystical art.
Well, also,
It's cool as shit. I really want this copy. Sorry.
you were correct, by the way. The original Vanifar was an ooze as well. I thought it was just an elf wizard, but it is an
Oh no,
elf
yeah.
ooze wizard.
I always
You were
thought
right.
I always thought that was so weird that she'd be an elf ooze. At any rate, I'm curious to know where you guys fall on Vanifar. I feel like she's maybe an A. I can't quite say she's S. But certainly not a B. I'll retract that statement. But I'll go with A personally. And Will, where are you on Vanifar before you?
I'd say A to S, but I'd say A. But I want to say, Man of War exists, so jellyfish as a creature type exists, and Vanifar is definitely a jellyfish in like all the arts. So I want to point out, Vanifar is an ooze, shapeshifting herself to look like a jellyfish just for style points.
Yeah. I could agree with that. But I 100% need this version. Look, if we're not getting any product yet, but that'd be great. If we do, I'd love to pull this copy, or I might just use some of my trade-in credit at TCG Player. Affiliate link in the description. Buy your singles at TCG Player using that link. Thank you, please, please. But I might just use TCG Player to buy a copy of Vanifar. Let's make, I think, the next deck tech on this channel. Let's hear right here. This upcoming Friday, we'll be brewing Vanifar, or at least I will be. Will, if you're there, I'd love that. But I would love to brew Vanifar. And again, if you want to participate in gameplay, I highly encourage you. Check out the stream. We try to condense it to an hour of brewing and then some gameplay. So if you want to participate in the deck build and some gameplay, stay tuned for that. I'll get that up on the channel very soon. But I'll let you guys determine where she lands on the list. We've got Voja, Jaws of the Conclave. So for 5 CMC total, 5/5 body, Wolf, Vigilance, Trample, Ward 3. Will, there we go. There it is. That's the keywording I need. Tasty. Ooh, I just need some Ward for breakfast. Oh shit, lunch now. Whenever Voja, Jaws of the Conclave attacks, put X +1/+1 counters on each creature you control, where X is the number of elves you control. Draw a card for each wolf you control. So in the short, I kind of muddied it. I'm thinking that you're going to run just a lot of changelings, potentially. But elves are going to be prominent as well, because you just want those ramp pieces. Is there a hierarch for Naya?
Like, do you mean like a better Naya commander?
No, like one of the dorks that taps for one of 3 colors. Like the ignoble hierarch.
Oh, no. There isn't one
one.
for Naya. It's just Bant and just Jund. Those are the 2 right now.
Voja did not need that much text. It's funny how Voja just cripples Tulsimer, by the way. Is Voja not his wolf dog thing?
It is.
Voja's just way better than Tulsimer. Is this the first time we're seeing Voja as its own card? Because it's just way better than Tulsimer.
I believe so. I'm actually going to double check that because it is an easy search.
If it had haste instead of vigilance. Sorry.
It is its own card. But Voja is really dumb because there's a card that exists called Mirror Entity, which just says pay X, creatures you control become XX base stats, and become all creature types until the end of the turn. Meaning all of your creatures are elves, and all of your creatures are wolves. Meaning that for every creature you control, you get a +1/+1 counter on each of those creatures, and draw that many cards. So if you have 5 creatures, that's +5/+5 on each of those creatures for a total of +25/+25 collectively, and you draw 5 cards. And that is just if you only have 5 creatures and you can pay whatever cost you want to change their base stats to that number. You're killing people very quickly.
Let me bring up Mirror Entity, by the way. I realize you all might not have seen my old Atla Palani list, but and I don't blame you. Atla Palani's just okay. Voja is rock freaking solid. I think Voja, yes, obviously haste would have been really sick. I think vigilance is still really good though. Like, I don't think Voja needs help. I think Voja is going to be very easy to play as well. But let's Mirror Entity, Will already discussed it, but it itself is a changeling, and then it can also make every other thing you control a creature of each type. So there's this, and there's Masquerade Nexus. I like Voja a lot, dude.
I don't think Voja is good enough for cEDH outside of like a B tier for our tier listing, but very close. Like Haste might have made it a little bit better, but when you compare Voja to something like Jetmir, Jetmir is just insane.
Voja will draw look, Voja by itself will draw a card off itself.
Yeah.
Right? It will also give you +1/+1 counter X number of elves you control. So no elves except for the ones you use to help you cast this. It's at least a B.
Yeah, I think it's good enough as a B. The fact that you're in Naya does mean that you have all the white things to slow down the game, all the green tutors to find those good white things.
What about Roaming Throne? Roaming Throne.
Redundant. You already just play more creatures. Just play more guys, dude. Just play more guys.
There are lots of haste enablers in these colors. This is true.
I do want to point out, if you do Roaming Throne and you do name Wolf, it will double the ward, so they have to pay 6. Because the way that ward works says when this becomes a target, counter that spell or ability unless they pay 3. So that doubles that trigger.
Are you saying A?
No, I'm saying B, but I like it.
Damn it. Audience, where are you guys with Voja? Are you on A or B? I think that it's definitely... I think Vannifar is better, but I think Voja is perhaps comparable. I'm going to put Voja in B for now. Look, I think when you play it, it is very much a do-nothing. But what are some of the lands? Like, you'll just need to use like Hall of the Bandit Lord, or what is the Kessig Wolf Run? Which is the one that gives you haste? There are other...
Hall of the Bandit Lord. Hall of the Bandit Lord.
No, there's another one that gives you haste too, though. Am I crazy? Is there not another land that gives you...
There might be another. There might be a red
Kessig
one.
Wolf Run buffs your shit and gives them trample.
Yeah.
But like, Voja's A all day. Raising of Day, Rhythm of the Wild, Mass Hysteria. Thank you guys for the haste.
Blamekin Village, Hanowar Battlefield, or sorry, Hanowar Battlements, not Battlefield. And then Slayer's Stronghold.
Bro.
Those are the 3. Outside of Hall of the Bandit Lord.
I would crop rot Hall off turn, or any one of those off turn, actually. Will, there's hope. All right, I'm really high on this Voja wagon, but it's not like inherently. It's just a value. It's value and go wide. I'll put it in B. I think that we're going to end the Vannifar poll now. I think that she is a firm A. I do believe that. So where it's at right now, it's 73%. 72%, excuse me. So out of 11 votes, we got 72 A, 18 S tier, and B tier 9%. So at least we're agreed that it's definitely A or S. But the last card we're going to look at is Gruul, and it's Yaris, Toyota Yaris, Roar of the Old Gods. For 4 mana total, 4/4 Centaur Druid, other creatures you control have haste. Voja. Whenever one or more face-down creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. Whenever a face-down creature you control dies, return it to the battlefield face-down under its owner's control. If it's a permanent card, then turn it face up.
No. Actually, hold on.
Go on.
So if you get an instant or sorcery face-down with this, you get infinite sacks. Because it returns it to the battlefield face down, and if it's a permanent card, then you return it face up. It's not a permanent card, it's an instant or sorcery. So it will just return it to the battlefield face down.
So if you were to if you're able to morph it or cloak it, then it is in fact a permanent sack creature.
Yeah. Pretty sure. That's That is a ruling that will probably need to be checked at some
Right,
point.
right, right,
But
right, right. But
based off of what it's saying, it does say whenever a face down creature you control dies, return it to the battlefield face down under its owner's control. If it's a
no, no,
under
no, no, no.
no, 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 sorry, never mind. No, 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 no. There's no comma there. Return to
Yeah, yeah.
the battlefield face down under its owner's control if it is a permanent card. Then turn it face up. So it won't work if it's an instant or sorcery.
Okay,
Also, for
good
anybody
on them.
who's yeah, for anybody who's thinking, uh, if you have a transform card, it can it can enter as a 2/2 with Shroud 2, and then whenever you flip it back, it'll flip face up. But then if you transform it at any point, it's still considered face up. So you can't like have a transform card, flip it, kill it, have it return face up, then flip it, kill it, have it return face up. So you can't do the Missy combo,
Mm.
like but backwards. You can't do that combo. Uh, the fact that the haste is sadly the best part of this card. It'll draw you one extra card per turn if you have anything on the field face down, and it will let you keep your face down creatures a little bit more safe.
Mm.
I don't even want to say C. I kind of think D.
Dot D says A. There's so many ways to give it haste, though, right? Who?
The dog.
Yaris? Oh, Doggo? Yeah. Voja at A. Got you. I'm not sure if that goes on the stack. The flipping it? Matea says maybe you can sack it in response to turning it face up. I think that's all resolving at the same instance, I thought.
It's one go. It will return it to the battlefield and then immediately flip it as part of one effect. It's like how you can't cast Angel's Grace mid ad nauseum.
I'm going to put Yaris in the D, personally.
Yeah.
Give Yaris the D.
There's a reason why he's an old god.
Share
No
this
one wants to play
template.
him.
Share a link to this template without including your ranking. What if I
Share
wanna-
tier list, I believe, is the thing. I guess you have to log in to share it now.
This is new.
Yeah. Well, we can always screenshot it.
Download an image. Oh, you can download an image now. Make sure to link this tier list so users can complete their own. Oh god, just download the image. Hey, look at that. Cool. This helps
also,
me.
really quick, Pride. Is Pride an S?
No. Pride wound up right where it was. Pride is B.
All right, so Pride goes B. I honestly think that if
Where
Pride
is Pride?
B, Lazov. Pride is on S.
Oh, damn it.
So you can take a second image. But
Download image.
if Pride is B, Lazov is S. Let's be honest.
You still think Lazov? You think that Lazov is S tier?
The fact that it's a 2-mana utility that will draw cards and then combo off really easily, I think Lazov is probably the best legendary of the entire set.
Damn. Lazov Wearer of Faces. Whenever it attacks, exile a target card from a graveyard, then investigate. This is assuming there's a card and there's usually at least a fetch land. It could also be your graveyard. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, you may have Lazov become a copy of target creature exiled with it until end of turn. It is taking that memory into account, so if this is like a new instance of Lazov, then it won't remember the previously exiled cards from past Lazov. Where do we have Lazov now, eh?
Yeah, Lazov is just kind of a really good Swiss Army knife for 2 mana. Draws you a couple extra cards, hates on people's graves, and helps combo. He does literally everything that a partner pairing would want to do, but on one card.
How do you guys feel about Lazov? Okay, just in the comments, go rapid fire. Say S or A, and I'll do a tally. S or A if you feel like Lazov is S tier or A tier. I need to know. I gotta know. I don't think it downloaded this last time. I'll download the image again and just make sure I have it downloaded. So ultimately, once we're done here, I am, of course, going to share this tier list with you all so that you have access to it in the community post. So if you're not a subscriber to the channel, I'll encourage you to do so now. I'll also share a link to this same poll if you guys want to construct your own. Feel free to. But this is going to end the video here, and of course, hang tight for Vannifar deck build soon. All right, so Jeffrey says B. Mateus says S for Lazov. We have A from Abzo, A from James, A from Pubstomp, A from Christopher Robinson. Mateus is on S. What is your reasoning, Mateus? I'm curious to hear your thoughts on why you think Lazov is S as well. I agree with you. It's like it's without the colors. Yes, Will. It is doing what partner pairs would want to see between two separate things. It's all on one card at 2 CMC. Just sans the colors. Yeah. So does that in my mind maybe that pushes it back a little bit? But it is doing everything you want. It's like it's quite good. There's so much going on with this card. It's like literally grave hate, card advantage.
You can copy people's stacks effects so that you can get a stacks effect on anybody's turn. Someone kills Collector Oof, and then if you stop them that turn, you have a Collector Oof underneath Lazov for the end of time.
We'll put Lazov at the front of the A line here. Not that that changes anything, but just to signify, I can understand where someone might feel that this is an S tier legendary from the set. It's very close. It can be a lab man anytime. It could be
that is also true.
It could be a lab man anytime. That's actually kind of cool. Do you run lab man and Lazov? There's your unmarked grave.
Potentially as a backup.
There's your unmarked grave target. So you unmarked grave. If you have unmarked grave, Lazov active, and a demonic or tainted in hand.
Yeah, because you crack the clue, which puts the draw on the stack, but then Lazov trigger resolves first, becoming Labman, then you draw the card.
It resolves the win by itself. My God.
Yeah.
I think you do use it. You definitely do use Labman and Lazov. It is the best good. Colors, can come down turn 1 any time of day, enables Mox Amber, copy stacks easily, and do your combos without Thassa. You'll still have Thassa, mind you. Ah, damn it, man. I'm going to go with what the audience is saying here for A, but I can totally see the argument for S tier on Lazov. I can totally see the argument for S tier on Lazov. I think that it's a very, very good legendary. 100% agree with you guys on that. Let me just make sure I saved this for you guys because I definitely want to share this with you all. Okay, got it. All right, on that note, gang, thank you for hanging out with us this entire time. What I'll encourage you to do, if you haven't already, is leave this with a like. That interaction helps this get pushed to other people that might want to help find their next commander and or just have a fun conversation on the recent set. But leave a like. If you're looking to pick up any of these singles from Murders at Karlov Manor, I'll encourage you to use the TCG Player affiliate link in the description. It should be working now. Hopefully they'll send a check our way. That would be great. But it does help keep this one lantern light on for me, so I would appreciate it. But guys, I think that the next brewing session, a little micro announcement here. We're going to hold Friday Night Magic at the end of each month, pending availabilities, Will and I. But every Friday evening, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is what we have been doing. Instead, I would like to start doing other forms of Magic-related content, and we'll do Friday Night Magic at the end of the month, so you can sort of plan your calendar around that. But I think this next Friday, I would personally love to work on Vannifar. And if you guys want to work on Vannifar with me, stay tuned for that. But outside of that, Will, any other closing thoughts?
I think you covered everything. TCG Player affiliate link, new scheduling for Friday nights. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to do more game and chat in the future. Still working the format out, but I've got a Steam Deck. Will has a PC. We're going to play some games in the future together on here. Shoot the shit. The shorts have done extremely well. So clearly the conversations we're having are fun. But if you want to hang out, play some games with us, and shoot the shit. That segment should be coming up. I think Thursdays is going to be the time for this segment. Thursday evenings moving forward, but we still need to hash that out. At any rate, hope you guys enjoyed this one. We'll see you on the next one. Let us know if you disagree with any of the rankings here. Happy to hear you in the comments after this video. See you guys.
Peace.
Ooh. Ooh, Vannifar. So many legendaries I want to build right now, man.
Yeah.
I want to build all of them. They're all so damn good.
I mean, I think you got hyped up on Holy Moly. So, fair.
Marvo? I got hung up on Holy Moly, but Marvo.
Marvo's really good
Marvo
too. Marvo's just
time.
better, Yannette.
Lazav is S. Mateus.
Yeah.
Make Lazav.
Lazav is so good.